hostilities once again. Skies here. Clouds are starting to come in, but at the moment it looks beautiful here in Burgoo Arena. My name is behind me, Chris. As we count down the minutes. And 9 in semi-final B, and that hill on the downhill. We heard a little bit earlier on Katie Zafiris talking about how steep it actually is, and there's no doubt, but you can see from those flags, not a breath of wind, and
magnificent for racing. It's probably about 25 degrees, as you said. It's very, very still when you come. Because conditions we're very much looking forward to. The water temperature is magnificent. They're eager to get in the water. It's a fantastic backdrop for race. And as you said, that downhill section on screen now on both the bike and the run will be a screen that will be very, very tough.
Took the jersey the first time anyone but Katie Zafiris has worn it in their history of Super League Triathlon, and she did that via a fantastic effort on the main streets of Jersey where it was blowing 9 kilometres an hour. I suppose that we had to cancel the bike, and that played into Cassandra. But the key is for these contenders is to make it through to tomorrow's racing via semi-finals, and we're going to go now and have a look at how the semi-finals play out. It's very important for tomorrow.
The semi-finals. From a mass start, athletes face a 300-metre swim, 4-kilometre bike, twice, 2 consecutive triathlons at full speed, no breaks and no room for conservation. The semi-final format is a true examination of pace and precision, with spots in Sunday's final awarded to those who can withstand the.
And there will be plenty of pressure. Well, look right now, Macadam, but it's not going to be in about 5 minutes as they are warming up on pontoon and getting ready to do this once again. We'll get down to Joe Ankia, who is be bringing us all the news from down where the action's happening.
Yes, the women are out. 9 of the best women in the world over swim, bike, run here, but only 5 guaranteed spots going through to tomorrow. And then, of course, the next fastest times, 5 over the 2. Grant defending the pink jersey. You enjoy the series later defending that jersey.
I race. I hope I will keep my.
And you hill.
It's an amazing city, and I love it.
It will be incredible. And just the French pressure this week after wins in Jersey.
Yes, I hope.
Lots of French pressure. Did so well last time in Jersey. Well, as I mentioned, 5 across the line first will qualify. Will next 5 fastest over the 2 semi-finals. 50 will go through, and of course that race for the sport shoot goes to the winner. Let them get on with it.
Yeah, there is plenty on offer. Thanks very much, Joe. Great access to our French connection right there on the outside of the pontoon. And here is the course overview as it stands from that pontoon, which has got a little bit of a slant to it. You can see it's about 120 metres out to the first point. Another turn into home as well. It's a little bit sharper the turn than it looks like there on the map. The bike and the run course, both the same. You can see on the left of screen the Trick St. Lawrence. That is Mount Malta heading up towards what will be the finishing line when they come through. Short is at the very top of your screen right there as well. But we'll get to all of that. As to the coloured jersey, the green and red are our swim, bike and run leaders from Jersey, and we have some money on the line for that as well. We have white for the youngest athlete in the field on the left of your screen there as well. There is the pontoon, and we're getting set for professional racing for the first time in Malta across the course of the weekend. We've had youth, we've had juniors, we've had corporate team enduro, and now it's time to those, and they're in, and a very start from everyone on the inside is Cassandra Beaugrand. Someone's gotten stuck there, Perio.
Yeah, and Cassandra Beaugrand again, very quick off the pontoon. That's what we saw in Jersey. It set up her race to take out Katie Zafiris. Remember, this is about semi-final racing. It's about the top 5 to secure the spot. But the fast time matter here. With the equaliser format tomorrow, it's the times that will determine where your TT position on that bike happens, which is very, very important for all the athletes.
So wearing the grey there is Yuko Takahashi, who's having a fantastic swim, coming to the buoy ahead of Cassandra Beaugrand.
Very good swim. Bookended the pontoon. So Yuko Takahashi was in spot number 1 with outside lines with a bit of clear water either side. He was definitely.
Also in this semi-final, Felicity Sheedy of Australia, Megan Foley of the US, as is Summer Rappaport as well. So a couple of Americans there. Angie Olmo, who comes into Super League for the first time. Elena Danilova of Russia. Samad of Canada, and we mentioned Perriot and Beaugrand. And Perriot taking a little bit of a left-hand turn there, but right out the front and fair way out the front is Yuko Takahashi pack. But neither of them can tend to get on the other's hip, if you like. There's a nice little gap between them. You wouldn't see that in the men's racing. Yeah. They'd be right on top of each other.
And that's probably why they're moving a little bit quicker. And you saw as they came off the swim buoy, the athletes back in that group got inhibited, went around the buoy. Cassandra and Yuko to get that clear water and open that gap, which is now going to be quickly. They're moving quickly. It's harder to close it unless you get that disrupted water on the feet of the athlete in front.
So a fantastic start from Takahashi. Behind there, I'd say Summer Rappaport, followed by Claudie Samard, one of our junior athletes. But Takahashi finished 14th in jersey, which is a little disappointing for her. Still got the great jersey for the fastest transition. That's the she's wearing. But she went on in the Japanese National Championships in jersey and here. So she's had some racing and some good racing as well as Rappaport looks to push up onto the feet of Beaugrand. Don't forget, there is a shoot available for the winner of each of the semi-finals, and that is a shortcut that will be taken on the run tomorrow on any of the runs. Probably give you, because it's still about 5 seconds, I would say, a little bit more than what they gave in jersey as they turn at the second buoy and head for home. It's Cassandra Beaugrand, Takahashi, and Summer Rappaport, your top three, with a little bit of a back to Sun and the chasing pack. But already,
Summer's had a fantastic back end of that swim. She's moved to the left of Cassandra, got a clear, but was able to close that gap. This was her best course here last year. I think she's one to really look for in this race for this round. I think she's an under-expected champion of this style of racing. She's very, very strong. If she has any difficulties, it's in the technicalities of these bike courses. This course not as technical as the others. The right-hander at the bottom of the descent may cause her a couple of problems, but I expect to see things from some of this weekend.
All right, swims. We're expecting about a 3:15 swim, and that's exactly what we're going to get, it looks like. So the pace reasonably on here, despite the fact that there's only 9 in the field, and it's Beaugrand who's going to lead just, well, not even, from water first. Cross the timing mats and pick up valuable points for the blue jersey race. Coming out from there is Samard. I can see Ryan, who's had a good swim alongside Megan Foley out of the water. But at the front, Takahashi, who has the fastest transition. Let's have a look at it right now.
She's
out. Doesn't
out.
Get much quicker than that.
Great transition by Summer. And there's Angie Olmo from Italy.
Field,
Angie Olmo, who's expecting big things. It's her first venture into Super League racing. She's been at all events to support her partner in Leo Bergier. She's a fantastic athlete and excited to be racing, and I think we'll see her in the final.
Now Elena Danilova, the last of our athletes through. Leonie Perry taking over Felicity. Sheedy Ryan. What's happened to Sheedy Ryan in transition? Your 5, Takahashi, Rappaport, Beaugrand, Samard, and Olmo. And Claude Samard, who was eliminated first, in fact, in the second transition when we had live eliminations in Jersey, has had a great start sitting in 4th.
So what they're thinking now is, okay, I need to get through this race as easy as I possibly can, so I need to really monitor my output, but I need to make sure the time's quick enough, because if we cruise too much, then I have a really poor selection. Format. That's very
hill, and it's hurt her as well. She came out, she was at the bottom of the hill in second position, and you can see how much she's dropped now to Takahashi and Beaugrand. I think she was pushing a little bit of a big gear there. The bike's courses. It's more of a power course, and she's a very powerful athlete as Samard just tacks to the back of Rappaport in 3rd and 4th. They have a little discussion as they head down the descent from Mount Malta for the first time. There is Rappaport tucking her frame in, one of the taller athletes, and behind her, Samard. So it's 2 and 2 as they head on the first lap of the bike. But Takahashi and Beaugrand. Beaugrand's smart athlete to sit in at this point. There's a big gap already back. And don't forget, the fifth athlete will automatically qualify too. So we've got two groups of two at the moment.
And they're technically all safe. And I was watching Summer there where I was expecting Summer Rappaport to struggle a little bit on this bike course. It was on that right-hand turn off that descent. It's probably the best I've ever seen her go around that. She'll be very, very strong along this flat section. But 100% she's a little bit geared coming in and out of those turns. Maybe she's just trying to find her way on the bike at the moment. Sometimes as you come into a race, you find your way as the race unfolds. But she's got good company there, and that they're safe those four. It's what's happening in 5 or 6 that you're going to see. But I really expect Felicity Sheedy Ryan, who's a magnificent runner, a duathlon world champion. The first run after this bike is a little longer than the second run because we come back down to the swim transition. It's about 2 kilometres. She'll be able to use her run strength to
the run, but don't forget it's a swim bike run. So we are only into the second of 6 legs with 5 transitions, so there's plenty of racing to be done. The 90-second rule is in effect, so fall more than 90 seconds behind the leaders through any transition and you will be gone at the end of any lap. And Olmo has dragging up Leone Perio up the hill with Megan Foley behind them, and that's your 5th through 7th placings with Danilova and Sheedy Ryan needing to do some work. We'll get some splits as soon as we possibly can up on the screen.
That's a good group of 3 that Megan Foley's in with Leone Perio and Angela Olmo. They're a group of 3 good bike riders. They're closing in on Summer Rappaport, who's a little bit technically not as astute on this descent. I think they'll come together. Yuko Takahashi here last year was magnificent on this course. She likes it. She's able to use a great power to weight ratio up that climb. I think she likes the technicality. Her smaller frame gets through these corners, and she'll be very, very difficult to move through on because it's very difficult to close in on the gaps, especially with her technical skills on a bike.
Yeah, Takahashi actually holds the second fastest swim in Malta ever, which is a 3:07, and the only person who has a quicker swim than Yuko Takahashi here in Malta is Taylor Spivey, and we'll see her in the second semi-final. Of course, Cassandra Beaugrand was not here last year, along with Sophie Colwell and Olivia Mathias, who are all great swimmers. Mathias obviously not racing this weekend, but she is here as Beaugrand takes her turn in the lead. We're about 8 minutes into the first semi-final, and there is daylight between the lead pair and the chasing pack, and spread out quite a bit. And we're going to see some 90-second eliminations, you would think, if this pace keeps up.
And that's going to make things interesting come finals time, because at 90 seconds people start to get eliminated. We have the five fastest times to get through to the final. So as people are eliminated, that opens up in final B the opportunity for them to qualify through.
So up the hill for the second time they come. Beaugrand and Takahashi just sharing the lead, and already starting to think about what they need to do for tomorrow.
Yeah,
of course, when it comes down to it, the short shoot is in effect. And the other thing we should mention, Macca, is that depending on finishing order in times across the 2 semi-finals, that is the higher up you finish, the better choice you get of your positions in the bike individual time trial tomorrow. So there's plenty on the line for these guys in terms of positioning and timing. Of course, these guys don't know whether they're in a fast semi-final or not. They're feeling it through at the moment. They don't know how fast the second semi is going to be. But because the bike individual time trial takes place 10 minutes before the racing, the championship racing tomorrow, having that extra 40, 50 seconds rest, 2 minutes rest, depending on when you can choose to take off in the time trial, could prove crucial.
Well, I think that's the critical thing they need to be racing for. As you said, when you've got 10 minutes rest between when the last person crosses the line tomorrow after the individual time trial, you have to get your transition ready. You have to get back down to the bottom, which is a good 2 to 3 minutes walk. You want that little bit of extra time. Time is everything come finals time, I guess. And, if you're the fastest of the groups, you get to select where you want to go. And I think you'll see those athletes pick that first group of 8 that go off in the time trial tomorrow.
Nice little group coming together there in Leone Perio, Angelica Olmo, and Summer Rappaport, who's been caught and dropped down to 5th. We know she's got a very, very strong run, though. And speaking of strong runs, the numbers say, as I'm getting updated messages from our data analyst, Graham Atchison, who we'll speak to a little bit later on, Cassandra Beaugrand, if she wants to, could put 20 seconds on Takahashi in a run, because Yuko Takahashi's her run's not her strong suit, and we know how good Cassandra Beaugrand is on the run. So she might just be sitting in there going, at what point do I attack?
Yeah, I agree. I think we all know Cassandra is so powerful on the run. It's her strength. She's our pink jersey. She's magnificent at this multidiscipline racing. That being said, I think Yuko Takahashi, of all the courses we have in Super League racing, she really shone here in Malta last year. It's where she really came on. I thought as an athlete, I think she likes the course. She likes the technicality of this course. And it's an uphill finish. So speed's irrelevant in an uphill finish. It's all about strength and it's about the ability to time that effort. And we saw Katie Zafaris do that magnificently last year, and we saw Vincent Louis do it again. And Cassandra has not raced on this course. So if there's anything moving in Yuko's way and that goes against the data of Graham, it's the fact that Cassandra hasn't been on this course, and we've never seen her have to sprint an uphill battle.
That's right. There's plenty of new things involved in Malta here. This is a unique course, and I have to say, Leonie Perriot, who came out of the water in 9th position, has moved away up to 3rd, and there's big gaps that she's had to cross. Felicity Sheedy-Ryan has overtaken Elena Danilova in that 8th and 9th position. We'll try and get some splits for you as soon as possible, but at the front and coming off the bike and into transition onto the first of 2 runs is Takahashi and Bogran. And
I think the advantage is at this end of the transition area. If you flash back to last year when Richard Murray was out of transition, was able to take out Vincent Louis, he was down this end of the transition area. And you can see there, Yuko Takahashi, despite having to run further, was able to get quicker.
Bogran in 2nd position, and we'll throw down now to Jo Ankia, who is at transition. How's it looking?
Yes, absolutely. Well, we know how fast Yuko Takahashi is in transition, and of course she came in and out of here super fast, and it will now be a question of can she hold on and maintain that with Cassandra hot on her.
There she goes. She's certainly putting the strides in the opening part of the run. They're going to turn at the bottom of the course and head up Mount Malta in just a second. We'll see what that strength is in terms of what Cassandra Bogran can do, because she's so fast on a flat and technical course. We saw that in Jersey, and I figure that she's going to be quick no matter what you throw at her, because she's of such quality. Cassandra Bogran won by 8 seconds back in Jersey. She had the quickest run. She's wearing the pink. She also had the quickest run, but that jersey rolls down to Katie Zafiris. And already she just pushes up alongside, and she looks like she's doing it nice and easy.
And they need to control their effort. They're very much in control out in front. They know that tomorrow's the finals time. Tomorrow's what matters. They need to control that. They're not going to be eliminated from here. They're the two best swimmers after this run. This is a little bit longer, this run. The finish line they're going to pass the finish line up here. This is where the second run will finish, but in this next run, it's about 2 kilometres because they have to get back down to the bottom. They look very, very controlled, and they won't be pressured from here at all.
Heading up towards the finishing line area. They'll take a left-hand turn and up to the highest point of the course in just a second. That's where the short shoot will be for tomorrow, and that is what these two are aiming for at this point. It's about a 150 metres odd run up to the top of the hill before they turn and head down to home. So Angelica Olmo has now taken the lead in that group that are chasing from Leonie Perriot and Sami Rappaport, and then Megan Foley, Angelica Olmo, Claudie Samard, who's dropped back to 7th ahead of Sheedy-Ryan and Elena Danilova. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen as they head down the hill for the first time. And already, after putting in the work on the bike, heading down the hill, very, very tough on the joints.
Yeah, Leonie Perriot, they're going up the hill while the other two go down with Summer Rappaport. They're in control. Summer's switched off there. She's very, very fluent in the run and is opting just to sit back and get through this semi-final as easy as she possibly can. Angie Olmo on screen is sitting in 5th. That's the safe position to be. So the athletes behind Angie Olmo are the ones that will be keying off Angie, saying, I need to get into that position to secure that 5th guaranteed slot to the final.
Claudie Samard at the back of the pack, and those guys will be very much aware of the 90-second rule. Of course, we're only into the first of 2 swim bike runs for this afternoon's semi-final A. We'll head straight into semi-final B in just a second. And there go your leaders who've been stuck together like glue across the course of the last 15 minutes or so. Beautiful pictures here in Malta, in the heart of Burgu and Bormla, which is part of the old town of Malta, not far from Valletta, which is one of the most picturesque parts of this beautiful island. And we've certainly enjoyed our time here, the athletes getting to see plenty of Malta before the racing begins. And as we expected, Cassandra Bogran is out front, but Yuko Takahashi is hanging on.
I think Cassandra's just in second gear, and they have the opportunity here to continue to squeeze the pace and potentially eliminate some of the other women at 90 seconds. But I think they realise what's happening here is a race for the, well, I know Yuko would be thinking this is a race for the short shoot. We saw Cassandra Beaugrand win the short shoot by winning the semi-final in Jersey. She opted not to take the short shoot in the final. She was that comfortable.
Yeah,
but
there's a 5-second penalty for...
Was that, who was that? Felicity Sheedy?
No, that was Leonie Perriot. And also to serve the penalty is Angelica Olmo, and both for heading over the dismount line.
Okay, that was a stop down by our race referee.
I wouldn't say that was 5 seconds, but it was a stop down.
It was a stop down. She's moved straight back in the position she was, straight back around Summer Rappaport. Leonie looks a lot better. We saw her get taken out in Jersey in that crash, and she chased all the way into semi-finals, missed that final. She was devastated about that, and she sees redemption here this weekend, and she looks magnificent. She was just alienated a little bit in this swim. Otherwise, I think she'd be sitting quite comfortably with the front two as Cassandra starts to squeeze a little bit to get a little bit of a gap on Yuko Takahashi now.
Looking supremely confident is Cassandra Beaugrand, and Katie Zafiris will be looking at this where she's warming up and just having a little look at what her title rival is doing at the moment, as will Rachel Clammer, who's also going to be in semi-final B. And Beaugrand just puts on a little bit the second time up the hill and puts about 6 or 7 seconds into Yuko Takahashi ahead of Rappaport, Perriot, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, who's moved to the front of that group. Angelica Olmo had to serve that penalty as well off screen. She is still in 6th from Danilova Foley and Claudie Samard, who's dropped from 4th to about, well, to the back of the pack.
So Felicity Sheedy-Ryan's the big mover. She came in off 9th off that bike, and she's such a big runner. She's a duathlon world champion, which is the discipline that has no swim in it. It's run bike world titles. She's won that, and she's the second swim was where she was very, very weak in this Super League racing. So she needs to get that margin of error, and she needs to use this longer middle run to get as much margin of error on Angie Olmo and the others.
Perriot and Rappaport in 3rd and 4th. So as it has been, 2 groups of 2, as quite early in the end of the run, you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, the pink cap was going on for the second swim for Cassandra Beaugrand. So she'll, something a little bit unique to Super League, run the last 800 metres or a kilometre or so with a cap and goggles on.
Without question. I'm quite surprised by Summer. I've been talking about her a lot on the coverage. I thought she would be interested in grabbing that short shoot. She was right there in the swim. She let a bit of a gap open, and there's Felicity Sheedy-Ryan on screen, but she let a little bit of a gap open, and she's not chasing to close that down, because that short shoot advantage in this final, especially over Katie Zafiris and Cassandra Beaugrand, could be the difference of winning this race. We saw how close she came last year to winning it.
All right, so after a couple of times after up Mount Malta, don't forget you have to do a whole other triathlon, and Beaugrand and Takahashi are ready for that. The caps are going on at the back of your screen to Leonie Perriot and Summer Rappaport as well. I don't know if you've ever tried to put a swim cap on while you're running. Not easy, but they make it look easy. This is all stuff that Super League triathletes have to practice.
And it refines that transition speed. It's all about seconds reserved in Super League racing. When you're looking at a 90-second elimination, when it's 2 or 3 seconds between making a final and not making a final, every second you save counts.
Back into the water goes Cassandra Beaugrand, off with the shoes. Spoke to Hayden Wild yesterday. He was famous in Jersey for taking his shoes off whilst running the last 50 metres. He said, I'm going to do that again. It definitely worked last time. Back into the water they go. Beaugrand now will have a nice little buffer on Takahashi, and we know how good of a swimmer she is. She got some water in the goggles there, though, so that slows her down a little bit. Takahashi.
Great transition by Yuko Takahashi. Straight onto Cassandra's feet. That gap had opened up just at the end of that run, and she's able to close that. We saw how good she was to this first boy off the start of the first swim, and I think she'll get on there. Leonie Perriot on 3rd, and Summer Rappaport in 4th.
There goes Rappaport into the water. Heartening for all of those age groupers and amateur triathletes out there that even the very best sometimes get water in the goggles on a dive.
Without question. I think Leonie Perriot will be very, very happy that she's been able to put Summer Rappaport behind her at the end of that run. Summer's probably a better swimmer than Leonie. She's going to have to move past her by this first swim boy, and Leonie will be able to get the feet of Summer. If anyone's going to move up on Yuko Takahashi, it'd be Summer Rappaport. She's such a magnificent swimmer, but she has to get around Leonie. So well done by Leonie Perriot, very well thought out. Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, I expect to see, despite going in 5th, will be the biggest loser from this swim. She's not renowned for her swimming, and behind her is some solid swimmers that need to get past Felicity as they get out of this swim.
Yeah, you can see Rappaport and Perriot shoulder to shoulder as they head to the first turn, boy. And just a reminder that the top 5 will automatically qualify for tomorrow's final, and that is where all the championship points and all of The money is decided as Claudie Samard is our last into the water. Just to the right-hand side there, you can see Macca's big boat. Just drove it in here this morning, dropped anchor and straight into the commentary box. There is Beau Grant and Takahashi, and the two of them behind are still inseparable. No one willing to take the lead and get on the feet of the other one, but Beau Grant just nice, as easy as you like, just controlling the pace of this race. 5 go through automatically, and then 5 from semi-final B, and then the next 5 fastest will also make up the 15. So if you're sitting on the bubble here in 5th, 6th or 7th position, you know that you need to either sew up that 5th spot or just sit and hope. And athletes like Angie Olmo and Elena Danilova, Megan Foley, they want to hope that they're in a fast heat. But the athletes in semi-final B, they'll know what the heat times are. So they'll check the watch or however they want to pace themselves and know what they need to do to get in. So an advantage there.
And what they're looking at too is position number 5 at the top of the screen. That's Felicity Sheedy-Ryan. She's not... This is a very different position for her to be in. As a weaker swimmer, usually in the mass starts, you're having a lot of people to follow. Now suddenly you have to find your own way. You're looking up. She's not going to be as quick at this. And the group behind, and Angie Olmo and Danilova and Megan Foley, will be closing in on her. They need to move up on Flick because she is the danger runner of that group. And if she can get out of this water in that position, it's where she's been vulnerable in the past. She's not renowned for her technical bike skills either, but she can survive a course like this. In a shootout on the run, she'll get through into that 5th spot.
Yeah, Sheedy-Ryan, very impressive in that first run, and you'd expect her to put together another big one. She was eliminated second in her opening semi-final in Jersey, so she's further into the racing than she was last time. She was eliminated in T2, in fact, thanks to a very slow bike ride compared to everybody else. She was a qualifier from Bali, and as you said, 2-time world duathlon champion. She raced the Nice 70.3 world champs just a couple of months ago. So coming back to this shorter distance and certainly getting the hang of it a bit in Malta as compared to Jersey, and she's got a spot in the semi-final on the line if she can indeed hold on to 5th position from Angelica Olmo, who is coming off the back of her first World Cup win in New Plymouth this year.
Great swim by Yuko Takahashi.
Yeah, that was
great swim.
It was probably 7 seconds at the point that Beau Grant hit the water before Takahashi transitioned, but a combination of just that little error
Cassandra had a little
Cassandra.
Glance. She had a little glance going, oh, wow, I didn't think you were so close, but she was a fantastic swim.
I thought I did enough to get rid of you.
Yeah, Summer Rappaport moved past Leonie Perrier.
She'll transition in the lead too. Takahashi right behind is Beau Grant, and they have been inseparable over the last 23 minutes. Onto the bike, 4 laps for the second time, and here are your 3rd and 4th place, Summer Rappaport and Leonie Perrier, and if they can maintain the gap, they will both qualify for tomorrow's final. Perrier, one shoe on, one shoe off.
Yeah, interesting.
That's an interesting way to do it.
And Felicity Sheedy-Ryan's held on in that swim. So that's her kryptonite, is swimming. And to stay in 5th spot now, she come out with a lot of confidence. This is the guaranteed slot to the final. So she needs to hold this position and keep Angie Olmo and Danilova and Megan Foley at bay.
This will be a huge boost for Felicity Sheedy-Ryan after having a disappointing outing in Jersey. There is Olmo out of the water, the Italian. As I said, first taste of Super League racing for Angie Olmo. And Elena Danilova behind her. Now, Elena Danilova, another one who didn't race in Jersey, so opening her account in Super League for 2019. She has been here before, though, as has Megan Foley. And Foley forced to run around Danilova. And when you look at the transitions we've just seen against the transition of Takahashi, you can see why Takahashi is renowned as a transitioner.
Well, she's wearing that grey jersey for a reason. She's magnificent in transition. She moved up on Cassandra out of the swim and was 10 to 15 metres in front of her out of transition.
Be hard to bet against Beau Grant, though, to take the short shoot for this one.
Well, she didn't even take the actual short shoot when she
didn't need to take the short shoot
in Jersey. So if she's not going to take it, then hand it off to Yuko Takahashi, who I think would thank her a lot for that opportunity, because this short shoot in Malta is going to be very, very important. It's at the position at the top of the hill, and we'll point it out on screen when we get to that position on the bike. And as the athletes on the run are running past that...
Sorry to interrupt, but the first time for the weekend that we see the yellow flag, Michael Thompson, our race director, showing Claudie Samard the yellow flag, and she's our first to be eliminated, and she's in danger of not getting through now to the final. Of that, there is no doubt.
She cannot make the final. She is out of the final. She's not going to post a finishing time. She will not make the final.
Unless there's some kind of bingle on the bike or something in the other semi-final. Claudie Simard's weekend is most likely over.
Yeah, you're right. If there's a problem and it goes back on count, back on times, which is a lot of prayers for her.
Yeah, so eliminated in transition 4 is Claudie Simard. The youngster, only 21 years of age, races a lot of American Cup races. She was eliminated first in her semi-final A in Jersey in transition 2. So a better outing for her this time around. But here are your leaders, Bo Grant and Takahashi. And really the important part of this race right now is Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, and can she hold off Olmo, Danilova and Foley, are all fighting for that 5th automatic qualification spot.
That's the race. That is 100% the race. Angie Olmo, speaking to her yesterday, was very, very keen looking at the semi-final ranking she had. She thought she could take that spot, and I think she still thinks that, but Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, she needs to move up on her, because Angie knows that Felicity Sheedy-Ryan in a shootout on the run is a far superior runner than her, and Angie, I think, is a much superior bike rider than Felicity. Yep. So it's a great match off.
A confirmation, as we saw those 5-second penalties come through, but it looked like a stop down from Michael Thompson. That was a warning to let them know that the 5 seconds will be added post-race. So Leonie Perriot knows that she has to put in an extra 5 seconds, as does Angie Olmo. And you could see that she was a bit upset, Angie Olmo, on her face. And she knows that, well, this plays into the hands of the woman on screen, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, who's got an extra 5 seconds up her sleeve from Foley and the chasing pack, well, at least from Olmo, and Foley and Danilova are the ones that she needs to worry about a little bit more now.
There's Angie Olmo there, so she's got 5 seconds to add to her finishing time, so she needs to more than ever, and she has moved up slightly. She needs to get past Felicity Sheedy-Ryan. If Felicity's going to struggle anywhere, it'll be on this descent. She's not technically brilliant on a bike. She went over this course yesterday. She said she did not like that right-hand turn off top speed on this descent that she's about to embark on, and this is where Angie Olmo, who is a very good bike rider, needs to make a move.
Yeah, I think she's going to have to put in a lot of work if she is going to take a spot. She'll not more likely be thinking about putting in the time to make sure that she can take one of those 5, I guess, lucky loser spots, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. Well, then it's a waiting game, and you never like to wait about anything. You like to finish this semi-final and know you're in the final. You can go down, do your recovery, and Felicity Sheedy-Ryan is racing just like that. She knows this is a big opportunity for her.
Had some reasonable results. 2018 was a great one for her. Had some good results in 2019 as well. And there was Rappaport and Perriot. And there's Olmo trying to chase down Sheedy-Ryan. So she knows she's got the 5 seconds. She's broken away from Foley and Danilova, and she's just doing her best to be as quick as humanly possible on her own as they finish this opening semi-final of what is going to be a huge weekend of racing here in Burgoo and Bormla, in the heart of Malta.
Felicity Sheedy-Ryan has about 10 seconds on Angie Olmo, and I got told, and I've just been told, that Angie Olmo was on a borrowed bike. She snapped her bike in transition before the race. She's on a borrowed bike, which makes sense, because I was expecting a lot more from Angie Olmo on this bike ride. She's one of the best bikers in the field. I was expecting her to move up a lot more. She didn't look as comfortable as I was expecting, and I've just been told that she's on a borrowed bike, which is amazing. You know, to be on a bike,
especially to do that you've done it in transition.
Yeah, 20 minutes before the start of a semi-final. You got to deal with that mentally, and then.
Who's lending the bike?
I have no idea.
Would you lend the bike?
Well, I don't think she fit
your
on my bike
anyway. But hypothetically,
I'd lend a bike to a friend without question. It's whether the bike fits, and bike riding is all about fit and comfort and being able to be
also just being used to it, the vagaries of a specific bike.
Yeah, without question, and that makes a lot of sense to me, because I expected to be a lot more aggressive on that descent, a lot more aggressive in this section on screen here. I thought she'd move up on Felicity Sheedy-Ryan at 6 or 7 seconds back, and she hasn't been able to do that.
Certainly did not look comfortable. And here they come around the bend and up Mount Malta one more time, and that is Rappaport in the lead from Perriot, but Perriot won't be worried about where Summer Rappaport is. She's only worried about the 5 second gap back behind her, but you can't see anyone. Sheedy-Ryan is still trying to come into transition, so there's a huge gap between Perriot and Sheedy-Ryan, which means that Leonie Perriot will progress, and that is good news after she got caught up in an accident in Jersey, and disappointing for her because she is one of our great athletes. She's been around Super League for a while, and we expected her to be figuring in the final in Jersey through no fault of her own. She was knocked out of that race, ended up finishing 11th. And around comes Sheedy Ryan.
And right at the back of the screen there is Angela Olmo on a borrowed bike. And you can see that she just doesn't look comfortable. It's a little bit too small, that bike. Sitting a little bit too far forward. All these things are difficult. It actually makes the run off the bike even more difficult. So all these accumulative things are going against Angela Olmo. And I see that elimination flag down all over is out in 90 seconds.
Okay, so midway through the bike is Elena Danilova's elimination, and that'll be a very interesting elimination. She'll have a very nervous wait when it comes to the times of the second semi-final. Into transition and onto the last leg they go. Takahashi puts the shoes on. Bo Grant's going to get out first, though. A little bit of fiddling there from Takahashi.
Much better transition by Cassandra Beaugrand. She did that with purpose. She moved. She sort of semi-sprinted out of transition to get that gap on Yuko and be able to shut it down now.
Yeah, Takahashi would have thought needed to come out in front to have any chance of taking that short shoot. And into transition come Perio and Rappaport, who've had a little lonely race between the two of them.
It's been a comfortable race for both of them, I think. I think they realised that gap had got up. If Summer was going to make a move, I think that opportunity left her after that second swim. Now it's about getting through this semi-final as easily as she possibly can. I think she'll shine a little bit better tomorrow in the final when you start to bring Katie Safaris and a lot more horsepower up front.
She's having a smile, Leonie Perio, talking to some people on the side of the course. So you know that she's in good form and she's having an enjoyable day out, knowing that she's going to come in with a semi-final, with a final spot. Sorry, Sheedy Ryan comes in and
she will not be caught. There is no way Felicity Sheedy Ryan will be caught on the run, and she knows that. She'd be ecstatic with that bike ride. Angie Olmo has left herself a lot to do.
I think Megan Foley, we should see her in just a second. I think Foley's catching Olmo, but there you go. It's been more than 5 seconds since she came in, so Megan Foley will need a good run if she's going to finish in 6th position. We're still waiting for Foley, actually. Thought she was a little bit closer than that, but Olmo, even with that 5-second penalty, might just have in hand. You can see 1:25 on the clock there, so some other athletes. Foley could be on the verge of elimination, and she is looking like that wry smile. She puts the shoes on anyway for the run to the elimination flag, and there it is. Unfortunate for Megan Foley, she'll finish 7th in semi-final A.
Well, she's the last to be eliminated. As you said, if it goes on a count back, it's going to be a very, very interesting final, semi-final B. It'll be very interesting indeed, because they know that they have to post some times or complete the event without being eliminated in order to secure that spot in semi into the final.
All right, just a little blip on the timing screen up there. Megan Foley is not equal first. She's actually down in 7th position and eliminated. And there is the gap between Sheedy Ryan and Olmo, but add 5 seconds to that. So Felicity Sheedy Ryan, she won't know, though, that Angelica Olmo...
Leonie's having a great time.
Yeah, she is. She's having a bit of a fun run out there.
Move past Summer, who doesn't look as good as comfortable as the athletes in front.
They're just jogging, though.
Yeah, she is, but she doesn't look as comfortable as I've seen her in the past. She is jogging.
She does have a bit of a shuffling run, which she's one of the great runners of Super League Triathlon, one of the quickest.
She's been our red jersey.
She doesn't have a classic run style that looks fluid.
Yeah.
So she can be surprising in terms of her run speed.
It's effective. It's very, very effective.
effective.
And where you think she'd shine, and we saw this last year, is here on the descent, on this downhill running, which is an art form in itself. And as you can see, Cassandra is also a taller woman, taller athlete, uses that downhill very, very effectively and has gapped Yuko Takahashi.
So Cassandra Beaugrand will win your short shoot, barring some kind of incident. She's got 1 kilometre, probably about 1.4 kilometres left to go on the run. Yuko Takahashi sitting nicely in 2nd position. She'll get a very good choice on the bike TT, depending on, of course, the speed of the second semi-final, which will be coming up at 3 o'clock local time. And Sheedy Ryan will not know that Angelica Olmo has a 5-second penalty, but she'll see that and go, 1 more lap to go after this. I should have it in the bag.
But Angie needs to push. Angela Olmo needs to push, because that 5 seconds will be added to the time, which will affect... She's now in that 6th position, which means time matters to her to secure a spot in the final. So that 5 seconds slows her up even more.
There is Megan Foley and Elena Danilova in the background watching pink jersey holder Cassandra Beaugrand disappear Up to the top of the hill for the final time. Takahashi second through. And Claudia Samard there too, watching on. Takahashi will finish second, so a fantastic effort from her and a real return to form after Jersey 3 weeks ago. Turn around and become national champion once again. Back in Japan and then arrive here in Malta with a big confidence boost. And finishing second in her semi-final, barring incident. Here comes Perriot and Rappaport, who are fighting now simply for bike TT position choices.
She's very comfortable, Leonie, and in a much better headspace. She was so disappointed after that crash in Jersey. She was in fantastic form. You can see how good a form she's in, and I think she's very, very happy with the race. Felicity running as she always does.
Leaving nothing to chance,
yeah, nothing
Felicity
to chance.
Sheedy Ryan. She wants to be there when the guns are firing tomorrow, and she will be. She hasn't really even had a look around looking for Angie Olmo.
Well, she's going to score championship points for the first time by making the final, get championship points, and that's important in the overall at the end of the season for the money you're going to take home.
Oh, that was close to getting eliminated. Just straight through at the 130.
Oy. She's got about 600 metres to go as they come up to the finish line now.
And coming up to the finishing line, as easy as you like, Cassandra Beaugrand will win semi-final A, and she will do it in style and send a message to Kani Zafiris, Rachel Klammer and the rest of the athletes yet to race that she is in supreme form. Cassandra Beaugrand, your championship leader and your winner of the short shoot for semi-final A. Off the back of a great race where she stuck with Beaugrand with excellent transitions and a good all-round performance. Yuko Takahashi is second. She will progress to Sunday's racing, and she'll do that easily as well. And Beaugrand will wait for her great friend, Leonie Perriot, to come up the hill, absolutely swallow that 5-second penalty. Won't make a lick of difference. Rappaport, if she finishes within 5 seconds, will actually take third position overall. So we'll see if that happens. But Perriot puts an extra spurt in at the end. Good crowd already building here. And Rappaport doesn't know that she could take third position. Don't know whether she came in under the 5 seconds or not.
It'll be close.
And Felicity Sheedy Ryan will be your last automatic qualifier for Sunday's racing, and she's very happy, the Australian. Congratulations, Felicity Sheedy Ryan. You will be there on Sunday, and the jury is still out on Angelica Olmo, who had narrowly avoided elimination at the bottom of the hill. Comes up the top of the hill at 5 seconds of that. So she comes along in a 38.16.
She's
and
worked
that
hard.
will need to keep an eye on that. So Angie Olmo on the deck. She's worked very hard. We'll head down now to Joe with Cassandra.
Well, congratulations, Cassandra. Hills, what hills? You made that look easy. How comfortable were you?
It was very hard, but it was cool because I was with Yuko. So we tried to push together, so it was very cool.
And of course, last time you had a lot of running on your own. How much did it help you to have Yuko alongside you?
I saw behind and I saw Yuko a little bit behind, so I controlled the rest of the race.
And how did you enjoy your first race in Malta? We saw the crowd cheering and clapping as you came in.
Yes, the crowd was on fire and it was very cool. I think it will be the same tomorrow.
Excellent. Congratulations. Good luck tomorrow.
See you.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks, Cassandra. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier when you're at the front if you've got someone with you. And when she said she controlled the race, she just probably brought the pace back a little bit. Went with Takahashi, and then on the run did what she needed to do.
It's always easier to have company on a course, especially if you're trying to get it through and save as much energy as you can for a final. You can just key off the other athlete. You know it's in control, and yeah, she would have loved that.
Smiles on the faces of Summer Rappaport and Felicity Sheedy Ryan. They'll both go through.
Stoked.
And she's stoked, isn't she,
Yeah,
Felicity,
really happy.
to do the job there. Summer's obviously been here and done it before, but in her second round of Super League Triathlon, she makes it through to Sunday, which is no mean feat. Straight into the new nutrition for Leonie Perriot, who does not want to be filmed eating, but that's what we do here at Super League. great access for our cameras in the recovery area, and nutrition incredibly important when you're on multi-day racing.
And it's all full of chocolates and candy. If you go in there, it's quite funny.
I know you've been in there a few times already this morning.
I live in there. But no, they're very, very comfortable. Leonie Perriot, one of the real cool, fun athletes of the series. She wants to get in these finals. She was, as I said, so disappointed in Jersey, like almost inconsolable. She really came into this year's series looking to retain one of those contracts, move up into that top 5 or top 6 positions, and she felt let down after Jersey. The crash put her out of valuable championship points, so she'll be ecstatic that she's into this final tomorrow.
Absolutely. She's great friends too with Angie Olmo, part of the French connection from her partner Leo Bergier, who we'll see a little bit later on. And you can see there the hug between the two of them, and we'll hope for the Italian fans at least that Angie Olmo is in. She posted a 38.16 for 6th position, so that is your key marker for the next semi-final. But having a look at this one, it was a good start in the closest pontoon position for Beaugrand, and a great start in the furthest position for Takahashi, who swam across the front. Rappaport managed to latch on to Beaugrand's feet as they came out of the water for the first time, and it was a pretty quick swim as times go here in Malta. Takahashi was off the front in the bike the first time around, and the two of them dropped Rappaport back into a group of 3. Into transition and out of transition, leading was Takahashi. She's very, very good at that, the 4th discipline of triathlon. And from there, the two of them really were never headed, swapped positioning a little bit until the final run came through. That was, in fact, the first run. But Beaugrand, her quality, she's averaging at about a 3:04 for the run, which is pretty quick, if you don't mind.
On this course.
On this course,
quick.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And Takahashi, great swim the second time around and managed to latch back onto the feet. And I think at that point, Cassandra was wondering, how are you still there? And just put a little bit more pace on. First elimination was Claudie Simard. There was 3 overall as the pace heated up at the front, and the 90 seconds started to burn a few people. Elena Danilova will be the second to feel it. Second time on the bike, the pace a little bit quicker now, with Takahashi hanging on and again having good transitions. But once Cassandra Beaugrand came out of transition the last time in front, she extended her lead, picked up the short chute, and did the job that she needed to do. And there she is crossing the line, and happy to do so, conserving energy for the next day. Takahashi across the line in second, ahead of Perriot, who may or may not have finished 5 seconds ahead of Summer Rappaport. Doesn't matter in the end, really. They both qualify for the final, as does Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, who comes across in the last automatic qualifying spot. So let's take a look now at the results as they stand. A 36.50 for Cassandra Beaugrand, 37.11, and 30 seconds back to Perriot. It was 6 seconds in the end to Rappaport, so Perriot hangs on to 3rd position. Felicity Sheedy-Ryan in 5th, and Angie Olmo in a 36.18. 3 eliminations: Megan Foley, Elena Danilova, and Claudie Simard will have very nervous waits, but you'd say that their hopes wouldn't be too high to make Sunday's racing, and that all depends on what happens at 3 p.m. local time, so about 20 minutes away. We'll head back down now to Jo Ankia, who's found Yuko Takahashi, who'll be very happy with her result.
I have found Yuko. We had to run after her. Fantastic race. And you were leading for quite a bit. How did that feel to lead for a lot of the race?
Yeah, thank you very much. I had really good swim, so I felt really good, and I enjoyed racing with Cassandra. But I knew that really hard to beat her on the run, so I just focused on how I take the corner or ready for tomorrow.
Yes, and we know that she is a great runner, but you did stay with her for much of it. What were you telling yourself to keep you going?
Yeah, just keep follow her, and yeah, that's it.
And it makes up for a tougher racing outfit out in Jersey. What would make you happy tomorrow?
Oh yeah, I just try to do my best, and yeah, keep great jersey. Yeah.
Absolutely. Keep the great jersey and continue this form into tomorrow. Good luck and well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Very happy Japanese national champion who hung around with Cassandra Beaugrand for much of that race. Couldn't take the short shoot herself, but a very good acquittal, no doubt, and a little bit left in the tank for Yuko Takahashi, you would have thought. And for all of our, at least 4 of our top 5 athletes who weren't really in danger from the opening shots if you like.
Oh, without question. I think that the cream rose to the top in that semi-final. I don't think there was any big surprise. If there was any surprise, well, not a surprise, but I think if there was any takeaway from that, it's how important the start is in this race, setting up that first run section with the longer run. That's what put Felicity Shitty-Ryan into that position, which in that second swim, bike and run was able to secure that spot in the final. But overall, they did it very, very comfortably. And I think in this second semi-final, the takeaway will be establishing that break early.
Yeah, Katie Zafiris, Rachel Clammer, Kerry Morris, Sophie Colwell, Laria Zane, and then 3 juniors as well. But also there is Taylor Spivey, and she is a monster in the water here. She absolutely dominated. We had a swim TT last year, right down there where you can see beautiful boats here in the harbour at Burgoo. Won that and also posted the quickest swim time of anyone in Malta. It was a 3:05 last year, but that was without people like Bo Grant and Sophie Colwell and Olivia Mathias as well. But still, 3:05 in the swim, and they'll be looking out for her, and she'll be looking to post a very solid result. She's currently 5th overall in our championship standings.
I think there'll be a bigger group because of the swim power in this next semi-final out of the water together, and Rachel Clammer needs to be in a position close enough to that swim power to stay in the hunt. I'm sure she will be, but if we saw her in Jersey swim out of her skin, and that's where this race is going to be set up in that opening swim.
All right, getting the photos are our top 5, and as we were saying, 4 of them were within themselves. Felicity Sheedy-Ryan was on the bubble, and she put the work in, and we'll see whether that hurts her too much tomorrow, but she'll be very happy with some Sunday racing. And a little bit earlier on, Joe Ankia caught up with Taylor Spivey, 5th place, as we were saying. The American very much a force in Super League Triathlon.
Well, welcome back to Malta, Taylor. You had a great race here last year. You won the time trial, of course. How do you feel to be back?
Oh, I love this race. I always love a hard bike course, and I'm looking forward to suffering here again.
Okay, and the transition's also so important in Super League, especially with these hills in mind. What do you have to think about in terms of gears and getting things ready to go up those hills?
Yeah, I think this format where you swim, bike, run without any breaks, you have a lot to think about, whether it's, putting your cap and your goggles into your swimsuit after the first swim, getting into the right gearing, as you put your bike back into transition, and, just making sure everything is in place for the next round is, just adds another factor. So if you mess up one thing, I think it really shows going into that second leg of the race.
Okay, and the running, because here we have downhill running as well. What's the key to getting that right?
The downhill is really tough. Some days your legs can just roll down the hill really fast, and other days you just don't have it. As you saw last year, I think Summer, Kirsten, and Katie really, utilized those downhill sections of the race, and that played to their advantage, and I hope I have it in my legs this year to, be up there at the top of the race.
And is there anything else from your experience on this course that you think the athletes should pay real attention to?
I think the most important thing about this race this weekend is, just giving enough today to make it to the final tomorrow, and having a little bit left to really push the pace tomorrow, because going up this hill as many times as we have to is going to burn everyone's legs.
Okay, well, we are going to be cheering you on. Best of luck. We know you came 4th last time. Let's see if you can make it onto the podium.
Yes, that would be really nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe, and thanks very much to Taylor as well. She'll be very much looking forward to this semi-final B, and for getting out on this course for the first time. Obviously, the athletes have been here for a week or so, and one of the athletes has been here for a little bit longer than the others is the man who has been called now the Maltese Falcon after getting that nickname this time last year, and a breakthrough win for him there, and the breakthroughs have kept on coming. Not all of them good. This one breaking through your skin this time. Hayden Wild is here, coming off the bike yesterday. I guess the first question has to be, mate, how are you feeling?
Yeah, actually surprisingly feel really good. A few bumps and bruises, but once you get in the water, it'll be, I think it'll be as good as gold. It's just that kind of that healing scab that's kind of making everything stiff, but yeah, it's there to dive in the water, and I think I'll be right. Yeah, I got 7 stitches yesterday, but yeah, the doctor said I should be all right. I just got to get to the 8 just to get to the doctors straight afterwards and get it cleaned out, but yeah, ready to go.
Good to see the younger athletes back at just being hard and just getting out there there no matter what.
Yeah, well, you're taking some chances out there, and I heard some of the athletes said you were roaring through this course. You've been riding the house down. Where did it happen? At the bottom of the technical section or on the descent? Where did the crash happen?
Yeah, so it happened when I was just coming out of transition, and it was the first corner coming up the hill. I just wanted to see how hard I could hit it. I wasn't really hitting it at race pace yet, but my front wheel just hit a bit of gravel, and it just made my front wheel kind of scoop out a bit, and yeah, it hit the ground, and I thought I was okay, and then I started getting blood onto my glasses. I was like, oh, that's a bit of a problem. So when I looked around, my bike was absolutely fine. The only thing wrong with it was a bit of a scratch on the seat. So
and no loss of nerves?
No loss of nerves, mate. We've got a little bit of a course preview before I race, so I just want to get on the bike and get that feel again, and I think I'll be fine.
So last night at dinner, I was standing there talking to Hayden and asking him how he was, and Vincent Lewis walked past, and Vince said, "How are you?" And then you said, "I'm fine," and he said, "Good, because I need somebody to race." Is that what happened?
Yeah, that was pretty funny how that happened. So, yeah, like everyone thinks I'm a little bit sore, but you know, once the adrenaline gets in, I think I'll be as good as gold. Like I've had the help of Brad Bear, the physio that Super League have hired, and he's been helping me since last night. And yeah, you don't need to face the race. You just need your legs and a little bit of arm work. So I'm ready to go.
Unlike the French maxim of "look good first, win second," you're like, it doesn't matter what I look like as long as I get the win. Now, last year you had a sprint finish with Johnny Brownlee for $1,000 for the stage win. Took that one. That must have been a nice little boost for you. Of course, you love a sprint victory. You beat Mario Mola for 6th and 7th in Jersey last year. The breakthroughs keep coming, so the confidence must keep rising.
Yeah, definitely. Like as Mecca said, a little quote from last year. You know, $1,000 American dollars, like 100,000 Kiwi dollars. So it was pretty cool, and yeah, it's given me a lot of motivation, especially in Jersey with no bike and doing so well. It's given me a lot more confidence coming into this race, and yeah, you know, I might have be a bit battered and bruised, but I'm ready to go, and full gas to the end, really.
Full gas to the end. You sound like Taylor Reid saying that kind of thing. That's what he always says. We'll give you the wrap up now, mate. Go and rest up, do whatever you need to do, put the betadine on, relax, and we'll see you out there a little bit later on.
Thanks so much, boys. We'll see you later on, eh? See you, boys.
Good luck,
all right, he's straight out here. Didn't even wait for us to throw to something. He's all business at the moment. But right now, it's Enduro today, Equaliser tomorrow. Rachel Clammer is one that she's had a bit of a tough week, and she'll be hoping to get through. So third in the championship standings, third in the final in Jersey, obviously a race winner in the semi-final. Now we come to Malta, where you finished second last year, and it's a very, very different course, and it has a lot of different elements. What is it you like about the Malta course and the mountain in the middle of it?
Well, like Malta itself, I love the old buildings. I love to look around it, and it's so much fun. And just the race course itself, it's typically like that. You've got so many beautiful views, so for the spectators, it's really nice. And for us, the steep hill in it, I love it. It's just up and down, a little bit of flat, and then go ahead. It's a really hard course, and the harder the course, the better it is. I like that.
And we do the bike equaliser, the time trial, and then sort of a 5 or 10 minute break and straight into the racing. Now that's something new again. What do you think about that?
It's got to be very painful. Yeah, I'm not sure yet how. It also depends on how we race on Saturday, of course. I'm not sure yet how and what I'm gonna do there. It also depends on in what position you're racing. Like if you go off first, it's like kind of hard, but you don't want to go off last either, because you've got then only like 5 minutes to get there. And I know from the last year races, it's because it finishes at the top, it takes you quite a while to get back down. Like you have to keep going a lot, and normally you've got, like when we had 10 minutes break, it's like 10 minutes, and you just slowly walk to transition. But here you kind of have to keep running and get to transition. So if you're last on the bike, then you won't have a lot of time to recover. Well, get your stuff ready, because in 10 minutes anyway you can't really recover. So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Well, I have our resident analyst, Graham Aitchison, with me. Now, first of all, semi-final A, that was an interesting race. The leaders up front, Yuko, Cassandra, did that compare well to your predictions?
We obviously had Cassandra out front, but Yuko, yeah, she was up a little bit from what we expected, about 4 places up from what I had before the race. But the top 4 were pretty much as we thought. But for me, it was Sheedy Ryan. It was the big mover in that field. She that first run, she came off the bike and she absolutely flew around the course, and she stayed away and got that automatic qualification spot.
Absolutely. Now, what about eliminations? We saw Megan Foley. Anyone you didn't expect to get knocked out?
They were roughly about expected, so it wasn't too out of the ordinary. Just waiting on the second semi-final now to see the times and whether or not they got that fastest loser spot, I think.
Now, this semi-final has some strong swimmers, so what are you expecting here?
Well, first of all, Sophie Caldwell, expecting her to break the swim record, I think, for Malta. It's held by Taylor Spivey at the moment, but Caldwell wasn't here last year, and her swimming is phenomenal, so we expect her to be right out front.
Okay, and then obviously Katie Zaferis, a lot of strength needed on these hills. Her clamour, what do you think?
I think it'll probably be Katie, but she'll be gunning out front to try and get that short shoot so she can challenge Cassandra tomorrow. But you know, clamour's there and thereabouts as well. She won't be easy to beat.
Okay, well, a lot to play for here and possibly a course record.
From Graham and from Joe, and we've been crunching the numbers, and at the moment, Macca, it's playing out exactly like we thought it would, and the cream of the crop rising to the top in semi-final A. Semi-final B is just about upon us, though, and very much looking forward to that. Here is the list. Katie Zaferis and Rachel Clammer are second and third in the championship race. Taylor Spivey will also be very strong, as will Sophie Caldwell. Kerry Morris needs a better showing from Australia, as does Ilaria Zane. And then one of the great things about Super League Triathlon is the ability to provide a pathway. Beatrice Malozzi, Bianca Sereni and Erin McConnell both qualified by coming first, second and third in the junior race this morning and given the opportunity and taking it to race against the pros in the afternoon. How good is that? Let's have a look at the overview. Swim, bike, run twice, 120 metres out to the first buoy, 2 turns and back in on the swim. Swim, bike and run are both the same course. That Trick St. Lorenz Street, if you like, is Mountain Malta up to the finishing line. It's even a further 150 metres up the hill to the top of your screen. That's where the short chute is. That's what we'll be racing at the front floor, which is a little shortcut they can use in tomorrow's championship racing. Very big sweeping downhill to a very tight right-hand turn and back along a left-right and into transition. 1 lap on the swim, 4 on the bike, 2 on the run. Do that twice and come in the top 5 and you will be part of our championship race tomorrow. Of course, the 5 lucky losers, if you like, the next 5 quickest across both will also qualify. And I'd like to see, and I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility, that 1 or more of our juniors may just qualify for tomorrow's championship racing.
I think they will qualify for tomorrow's championship finals. They were magnificent in this morning's European Junior Championship race over Super League distances. They earned their spot in the semi-final. They asked if they could take that spot, which is something we do offer to all Super League athletes. All 3 of them jumped at that opportunity, which hasn't happened before. We had the same opportunity in Jersey, and many of the juniors opted not to take it. So these Italians...
Soft.
These Italians in particular are very, very keen to showcase their skill.
All right, we're going to head down very soon as the wind starts to get up here in Malta. Down to Joe on the pontoon. Joe?
Yes, well, the ladies are lined up and ready to start. I'll just grab a quick word with Great Britain's Sophie Caldwell. We know you're a fantastic swimmer. How important is this start?
Yeah, super important. The boy's not too far away, so yeah, it's good. Got to get a good start.
And of course, this is a very hilly course. Is it your kind of course?
Don't know, I'll tell you in 40 minutes.
Okay, well, we have obviously just seen semi-final A. Katie Zaferis will have seen her rival Cassandra win. They saw how important the swim start was as well. Let's let the girls get on the way.
All right, we're building up to semi-final B. Thank you very much, Joe, and thanks to Sophie Caldwell for taking the time to talk to us. But the start, incredibly important for Sophie Caldwell, because when you look at the athletes around her, Zaferis, Clammer, Spivey, Ilaria Zane, Kerry Morris, they're all top 5 athletes. One of those 6 is going to miss out, and maybe more if Malozzi, Sereni and McConnell can do that. Now, Malozzi is wearing number 16, 19 years of age. 2019 World Junior Champion, 2019 European Junior Champion, has raced elites as well, finished 5th in her semi-final at Tijuvaras at the World Cup. So she knows how to race against the elites. She had an elite European Cup win as well in Malé this year too. So she's got plenty of chops in terms of elite racing, and of course as the World Junior Champion. Also 3rd in the Italian Junior National Champions is Sereni. She's 19 years of age as well, and she just picked up a European Cup race in Riga as a junior. The win there, and Erin McConnell is the 2019 Irish National Champion and the 2019 Junior Athlete of the Year in Ireland. So plenty of quality between our 3 athletes in the white jerseys and all the colours of the rainbow in the rest. Red, green, blue.
Look for Malozzi. She is a super talent of the future, and this short distance racing is exactly what the juniors are doing, since she will be dynamite in this semi-final.
Well, Ilaria Zane, another Italian athlete, a professional, she'll just be a little nervous about the next generation of athletes coming through from her home country.
Yeah.
We're about to get it underway. Michael Thompson has the air horn in his hand. That's Sereni up high, and closer to your screen was McConnell, and out they go. And already Sophie Colwell, she just has fantastic starts and gets clear water straight away no matter where she chooses on the pontoon, but she's already a length ahead, and they're only 25 metres into this race.
She's incredible. Her and Beau Grant off the start are without question the fastest women in the world, and because Katie Zaferis on the far right there in the red jersey, the red runner's jersey, has moved up and was able to get that clear water and get around the riffraff and get right in the mix.
I was swimming in the harbour the other day and didn't realise that Colwell was on my feet. Had a little break, looked up, and Colwell was 20 metres ahead of me. Like, sometimes you think, these guys actually going fast for people that are watching this for real, but I can tell you I was swimming my heart out, and Sophie Colwell went past me like she had an outboard motor on, and she just talked to me on the way past. These guys are amazing athletes.
Phenomenal swimmer. Sophie Colwell is a phenomenal swimmer. When it comes to speed, 300 metres, I think she's one of the best relay swimmers in that mixed teams relay racing for the Great Britain in the world. I think it'd be a tragedy not to have her on that Olympic team. If any Great Britain selectors are listening, she is built for this style of racing, and her starts and her ability to ride so strong and run so solid is spectacular. And Katie Zaferis, the true professional she is, would know that. She would be expecting her to set the pace. She slots straight into second position with Rachel Klammer sitting in there very, very comfortably as well. Taylor Spivey a little bit further back.
So Sophie Colwell is at the moment leading this one as they head to the halfway point of this swim. And behind her in the red jersey is Katie Zaferis, knowing that the best place to be is on Sophie Colwell's feet. And then further back is Rachel Klammer. So all three of our Jersey winners are leading the way, and it's already stretched out nicely as a group at the back there take a little bit of a wider line.
The pace is on.
It really is on.
Yeah, when you're in single file like that, it looks a lot quicker than the first semi-final, and it's Sophie Colwell has thrown caution to the wind and said, let's put the hammer down, let's get the break, and it's good to see. It's very, very good to see Rachel Klammer, who was a little bit concerned about her ribs. She came in with some issues with her costals under the ribs. And if she was going to have any problems, it was going to be in the swim, but she looks to be right there and in front of Taylor Spivey, which is big. Yeah,
Brad Beer, our physio, said that he has been working on Rachel across the course of the week, and said she's improved with each day, and that although she can feel the pain from the injury that she sustained it from coughing in the night.
Yeah.
And just woke up in the morning on, I want to say Wednesday morning, a little bit upset. Yeah. And there you go, on the outside there is Malotzi.
She's in 5th position in the white jersey.
Yeah, in the white. Champion. So currently in 5th behind Colwell, Zaferis, Klammer in the green there. And also, who's that alongside Klammer?
I think it's Taylor Spivey.
Coming up, yeah, Taylor Spivey, I think you're correct. So out of the water first is Sophie Colwell, then Katie Zaferis, followed by Spivey, who's overtaken Klammer there on the exit of the swim. And behind them is, Malotzi.
She's the only one who's already raced.
No, Sereni. My apologies.
Oh, it is too.
It is?
It is too.
So 65. A good start from Sereni, one of the 2 Italians who finished in the top 3 in the junior racing. And there she goes, number 65. 68 there is McConnell. So Malotzi hasn't had a good start to this one. In fact, she's down in last position, just behind Kerry Morris, McConnell and Sereni. There is Morris.
Kerry Morris needs to use her bike strength on this course to move up if she needs to stay in the hunt, because that powerhouse group up front now are some of the biggest hitters in women's triathlon right now, and they are going to be gone unless those gaps are closed in these early bike courses.
Colwell, Zaferis, Klammer, Spivey, and Zane are your top 5. And it does look like there's a little bit more pace in this one than there was last time out.
A lot more pace.
And Katie Zaferis takes control, as she has done every time we have called a women's race in Malta. Katie Zaferis has been on the front, and there's already a group of 5 who are disappearing into the distance from Sereni, McConnell, Malotzi, and Kerry Morris, who's the last of our professional athletes in this one. And the time to look at is Angelica Olmo in a 38.18. But that's a long way from where we are right now. But a gap of 5, and Bianca Sereni is looking to cross that gap.
Which is a big ask. When you've got Katie Zafarias on the front and Sophie Caldwell, two front runners that love to set tempo, love to set pace, this group will disappear very, very quickly. Taylor Spivey needs to move up a little bit. She's very good in and out of these corners, but I don't like the little gap she opens because Katie is so strong on these flat sections. You suddenly look up and you're 3, 4, 5 bike lengths behind, and suddenly you've been dropped from the group. It's a danger position to be when Katie's in this mood of racing.
Yeah, and she doesn't like to wear the red. It's almost off-putting seeing her in the red after calling so many races of her in the pink. She's in the red at the front, and that is the quickest runner from Jersey. Quickest swimmer is Colwell. The quickest biker is Clammer, and they're all at the front of this race, with Taylor Spivey and Ilaria Zane behind.
The juniors.
And there is Sereni and Malozzi. So Malozzi has pushed up on Sereni now and wants to get into that 6th position and wants to look at Angelica Olmo's time of 38.18. But it does look like, at least at the front, this is a faster heat. Sometimes looking back and seeing and watching semi-final A whilst you're warming up, whether they choose to do that or not, they'll be looking at that time. And once times are posted, there's the feeling to go out a bit harder and make sure that they stay under that time.
Yeah, a bit more urgency, and I think you've also got a bigger group of more tightly congested talent-wise athletes in this semi-final. So they realise by working together they can establish a group of 5 early. So why not work strong in this opening swim, bike, run section, set up that 5, and we can coast later. It's what happens later in the race it's going to actually take away some of that, I guess, some of the energy for tomorrow's event. So if you can get out early, set a tempo, establish that position, it makes for the racing a lot easier.
What will be interesting to see if Ilaria Zane, who was eliminated before the final run in semi-final A in Jersey, the 27-year-old, can hang on to the back of this group if they do indeed stay as a group. And we'll see just how... That was a wide line taken there by Rachel Clammer. And we'll see how much they are indeed pushing the pace. So Clammer will like the way this is playing out. Of course, she's nursing that injury. She wants to create a group of 5 or less that have a good gap on the chasing pack, so she doesn't have to push herself too much to make it into the racing tomorrow, and give herself 24 hours extra to enjoy a recovery.
And looking at the swim splits, we're expecting Sophie Caldwell to potentially take out Taylor Spivey's swim record. She didn't do that on this course, which was interesting. It shows how quick Taylor Spivey was last year over this swim course. But she swam magnificently again, Taylor Spivey. She's in this group of 4, and maybe she saves that for tomorrow's final. It doesn't matter chasing records in semi-finals. What matters is being in that top 5 to secure the spot for the final. And
I would be surprised if that swim record got taken out in a semi-final.
Yeah, agreed.
Of 9.
You are chasing with Caldwell in the blue jersey. I was expecting you to have to set a tempo to secure those jersey points to keep that jersey hunt in place.
Yeah, we should explain that it's a accumulation across the season. So each day's racing has 5 points, a maximum of 5 points on offer for each of the 3 disciplines.
Yes.
So 5 if you're the quickest swimmer in the first leg of the swim, 5 if you're the quickest biker in the first leg of the bike, and 5 for the run as well. And those points accumulate a little bit like the yellow jersey or the polka dot jersey in the Tour de France. Whoever is in the lead at the current point of the season will wear the jersey, with $10,000 on the line at the end for whoever holds it.
And a series point. So at the end,
a series point indeed.
Which could come into a lot of value if you're looking for those contracts. And it's the first discipline in each of the semi-finals. The first time you do any of the disciplines was where those points accumulate, and in the final tomorrow. So that's why you see those races to be first out of the water, or first off the bike, or the fastest time on the bike, or the fastest run, and where athletes are pushing to accumulate those points, because there's big dollars on the line.
And you see guys like, I spoke to Aidan Longcroft Harris at breakfast the other day, and his main concern is to make sure that no one steals his swim jersey from him, because he's enjoying wearing the blue. He wants to obviously make the final, because if you make the final, you get a second chance at those points. So you miss out on that. Other people are accumulating points for those splits that you aren't.
Looks like Kerry Morris is moving up slowly at the back. Whether she's moving up quickly enough, we'll see. But Zane is not renowned for her power running. Well, she hasn't been renowned for her power running in Super League racing. It's unfair to say she's not a great runner because she's done some great things on the WTS circuit and the World Cup circuit. But we've yet to see her unleash that speed in Super League racing. So
she's having a good time just tacked onto the back of this group, though.
She's in a perfect spot.
Absolutely is. And if Kerry Morris is going to find a way into the final tomorrow, following her countrywoman Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, then she needs to get past our two juniors as well. Bianca Serrani and Beatrice Malozzi, who have been so closely matched in the junior racing and are now right with each other behind this group of 5 in 6th and 7th position. So Morris has to overcome them first.
Agreed. And she's moving up on them now. And to give these juniors some credit, of all the athletes racing, they're the only ones who have already raced this morning. So not only do they lack the experience, they've actually got a race in their legs. So they're doing a remarkable job, and they seem to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah, there's no doubt they are doing a remarkable job. We saw Simon Henseleit from Germany do the same thing in Jersey 3 weeks ago, and he qualified by the barest of margins into the final. Didn't take up that final spot in the end. He's got a very interesting story, Simon Henseleit, and we'll bring that to you as the men's race unfolds a little bit later on. But it is possible to race as a junior and then in the afternoon race and qualify in the pro ranks and find yourself in a championship race in Super League Triathlon. And that's what Bianca Serrani and Beatrice Malozzi will be looking to do, as into transition first comes Rachel Klammer. Looks like a solid transition from her. A little stumble, but it's okay.
Very good by Klammer. Very good transition. She's gone. And her fiancé, Richard Murray, did this exact thing last year in the final and was able to take out Vincent Nui with a huge transition. So I'm sure they had a few words about how important that is. I think there's too big a gap here. I don't think any of these athletes are going to move up on that top 5. They've done all the work early, and I think this will be established. So,
well, Zane is putting in some big work to try and stay with that group. She knows the longer she can stay with them, the more the gap is going to be. And there goes Malozzi, the world junior champion. That's
great
right.
Runner, a fantastic runner. And Zane knows that. She knows she has to stay close to this top 5. This is the longest of the runs because they run past the finish line and back down to transition. So it's actually closer to 2 kilometres as opposed to the mile. So it's the most important run in this format.
So from having an injury and almost not making it into racing this weekend, Rachel Klammer is off the front and looking for the short shoot. She had a win in Jersey in her semi-final 3 weeks ago. The first win, the first time she's tasted the tape in Super League Triathlon after finishing in the top 5 for 6 of the previous 7 races. She finally got the win, and she enjoyed every minute of the last 400 metres of that run because there was no one even close to her. Obviously, comes in carrying an injury she sustained earlier this week, but it doesn't look like it's hurting her too much. Katie Zafiris, who looks exactly the same whether she's in the red zone or not, is just eating up this mountain, as is Sophie Colwell in 3rd position ahead of Taylor Spivey. But you never can tell what's going on with Katie Zafiris, can you?
She'd be an amazing poker player. She just slowly tightens the screws, and as you said, you don't know whether she looks identical, whether she's at full speed or relaxing, and she'll eat into, I think she'll eat into the lead here. She needs that short shoot. She didn't get the short shoot in Jersey. She knows how important it is to have, and I think she wants it, which will be very, very interesting because I think there's a lot of aggression in the racing of Rachel Klammer. She's really come of age this season. We didn't get to see her shine in Jersey when they eliminated the bike ride. She did shine anyway as a swim runner. But I think she'll be in better form here with the bike ride. She works this downhill on the run magnificently. Her transitions have been spot on. And who knows? She could take that elusive win she's been chasing in a championship round.
Well, I do hope so. And down the hill comes Klammer, and we've seen it. We saw it last year. If you try and measure your run down the hill, other people who are willing to throw caution to the wind and really work the joints will get away from you. And
I think
all of these athletes, well, Klammer's been here before. Colwell hasn't. Colwell looks like she's in a bit of distress, actually.
But I think Katie's been smart. She thought, look, if anyone's going to swim me back up onto Rachel, she's not the biggest swimmer here. It's Sophie Colwell. I'll just sit back here. I'm in a safe position, and this power swim group can help close that gap. But because she just seems to switch off there on that descent.
I think Kerry Morris and Erin McConnell will starting to be in a little bit of danger from the 90-second rule, as Beatrice Malozzi still puts in the hard yards. And Clammer comes through transition the first time, looking very, very solid. No hint of that injury in the cadence and turnover of Rachel Clammer. Zane still clinging on to that group, but the rubber band, the running rubber band anyway, is starting to stretch a little bit.
Taylor's just moving past Sophie Caldwell, and Ilaria Zane now starting to struggle a little bit. Not looking as good as she did on that opening.
Oh, I'd love to see Malozzi just start to track down Ilaria Zane as the sort of the present and the future of the Italian team for that last 5th spot. Let's hope it comes down to it, at least for the sake of great racing, but both of them very, very quality athletes in different stages of their career. Zane still has plenty of great years ahead of her. She's only 27 years of age, but Malozzi is only 19. So sitting in second position is Zefiris, and she'll be looking to see if Rachel Clammer can keep up her speed on the run, but she looks solid. She's got a chest up, head back. She looks like she's keeping a very strong cadence and powering up that hill.
Looks magnificent. She looks
really
very,
good.
very controlled, and Katie hasn't really closed. Even though we say Katie doesn't ever look like she's moving quicker or slower, she does like to lead, and she does like to close these gaps, and she hasn't moved up. She's measuring her effort. She knows we still have another swim bike run to go. The interesting thing for Zane will be with Sophie Caldwell, who's a big swimmer. Zane not as strong in the water as Sophie Caldwell. If that gap opens up and Sophie's able to swim across to Taylor Spivey, it'll isolate Azaria Zane off that group of 5, and can Malozzi close that and take that 5th spot? Isolation now is what's dangerous for these athletes, being on your own when there's a group up front, because you've got to do all the work yourself then, and it makes it more difficult or a lot easier for the groups behind who are together to potentially close that gap and put you in danger of being not eliminated, but put you in danger of not securing that spot and having to rely on times to qualify for the final.
Well, the only place it's good to be on your own is in Rachel Clammer's place.
Yeah.
And as far out on your own as you can possibly get. Malozzi digging deep, having already raced this morning, is looking for another gear to close down the gap on Ilaria Zane. So 3 athletes eliminated in the opening semi-final, 6 go through. Therefore, if you can stay ahead of the yellow flag of Michael Thompson and finish this race, you will race tomorrow. There's 9 athletes still in the race, and 6 only 6 avoided elimination. And there is Morris.
She needs to push. I'm not sure if she's aware of that, but you're 100% right. If she can get to the finish line, she does not look comfortable at all.
Doesn't look comfortable.
She's run a lot better than this in the past, and she needs to stay out of that elimination zone, because if she can get there, and she's in a lot of pain.
She was eliminated 3rd in her semi-final, which is a bigger semi-final in terms of athletes in Jersey, 31 years old. Great story, though. Only turned professional a couple of years ago. Only started triathlon 4 years ago. Was a swimmer growing up. And does a lot of long-distance racing. And there is Erin McConnell in 9th position, who is feeling the pain of already racing today. Can't say enough about how gutsy these athletes are to take on the very best in the world, whilst the very best in the world have spent the entire morning preparing for this exact moment.
Textbook transition again by Rachel Clammer. That was remarkable. Very fast indeed. And this is where Ilaria Zane is in danger. She needs, Sophie Caldwell being the biggest swimmer in this group, will move past or set a tempo in this next group of 2 behind, with Taylor Spivey just in front of her. And that will isolate Ilaria Zane.
Azalea. Is that what you're going for? Ilaria Zane.
And that could be a problem. She has to swim a hard out in this first 100 metres to try and at least get some of that forward momentum water or that disrupted water of Sophie Caldwell off her feet, and at least be able to get up on a Spivey, who is also, as we know, the fastest swimmer to ever swim on this course. So you've got some big swimmers in front, and there's the danger woman right there, the junior world champion.
All right, there is the gap between Zane hanging on to the back of that group of 5 and Malozzi as they battle away for that last qualifying spot. There's Sereni, who's all on her own, ahead of Morris and McConnell, who may just find themselves on the back end of the 90-second rule. But into the water goes Bianca Sereni, the 19-year-old.
She's in danger of that 90-second post this swim because the front women are going around that first swim, boy. It's about 120 metres in. And now Kerry survived, which is fantastic. She'll hit the water.
Malozzi currently around 25 seconds down on Zane, so she needs to eat that up in this triathlon, which is very, very possible. Zane, though, having a good swim to try and hang on to the back of Colwell there. She's really putting in the hard yards, and we'll see where her conditioning is at the back end of this sprint enduro.
Katie
Zafiris has closed the gap. She looked coming into the water very solid, but a measured effort, and she's going to take the lead of this one as Rachel Klammer. Well, she knows right now, Katie Zafiris, that she needs to come in tomorrow, and if it comes into a head-to-head shootout with Cassandra Beaugrand, she needs a short shoot in the back pocket as well.
And that's what she's swimming for right now. She made a concerted effort in that swim, and McConnell's been eliminated at 90 seconds. She made a concerted effort in that swim to close the gap. You know, Rachel Klammer, fantastic transition, a little quicker than Katie, but that gap was closed within 200 metres, and now Katie's applying that pressure to build that gap of the two women behind. It'd be nice for her and Rachel Klammer to be away. Then she only has to deal with Rachel, one person on the run, instead of having to deal with two. But I think she's 100% thinking, I need this short shoot, and I'm going to take it.
There's McConnell talking with Joe Kubizniak, who is in charge of our youth and junior racing. And there is plenty who turn out for those races, and they've been happening all morning. And Erin McConnell just happy to be involved in a race of this calibre, and another step in her inevitable ascent during her career. Still very young, of course.
And Ilaria Zane has had a magnificent swim. She's staying very, very close, and she's worked that swim, had that open water, that clear water to chase Sophie Corbell, who's opted to sit on Taylor Spivey instead of going around Spivey and leaving that extra body length, and that's put Zane back into this swim, which has saved her from that isolation. So fantastic.
Still a smart move, though, from Caldwell, who knows that she just has to stay there or thereabouts, and she will qualify, and she probably knows that she doesn't have the pace in the legs to take the short shoot from one of these two athletes we're seeing on screen right now coming in off their second swim. So 4 laps on the bike and 1.5 laps on the run to go. And that will wrap up our semi-finals for the women. And Cassandra Beaugrand, first in our championship, took the short shoot in the win in semi-final A. Katie Zafiris, second in the championship, fighting for the short shoot with Rachel Klammer, third in our championship. So the very best are doing it once again. Sophie Caldwell, who sits seventh. A good swim, and Spivey hung on, and Ilaria Zane to hang on the back. We didn't think maybe that was going to happen, but she's proven us wrong. Great transition from Zafiris, comes out ahead of Klammer. In come the following 3, and Zane looks good to put one hand on this 5th position now.
Great swim. Fantastic swim. That was a swim for her life. She's a great swimmer. She stayed in the hunt. I think Taylor Spivey swam better in that second swim than she did in the first swim. I think that clearer water for Taylor. She's able to find a stroke. We saw her in the equaliser TT last year, which was a swim TT. She set the fastest swim of all the women. I think she swims better in these pursuit or these non-mass start swims, and she had the best swim of the day so far, I thought.
Bit of a stumble out of water for Sereni, who's overtaken Malozzi, the pair of Italian juniors. So Sereni's found another gear there, and Malozzi really put in some hard yards early on.
They need to work together to now stay away from this 90-second elimination rule, because if Katie puts the hammer down in any way here to distance herself or to chase that as she's doing right now, that puts them in danger of being at 90 seconds behind her, the race leader. And
to an extent, you'd say that their chances of going through to the final are in some way affected by the decision, whatever decision these two make.
Exactly. It's 100%
because
what's
if they can make it to the end, they will be in. If they get eliminated, it's a question of where they got eliminated, and we'll crunch the numbers and bring to you who will progress. Our data team working overtime, and I say team, it's just one guy, but he's got the mind of a genius. He can crunch the numbers super quickly, and Kerry Morris,
she's very close.
Got to be close.
Now. Very, very close.
Got to be close. She'll be watching one eye on Michael Thompson, and she'll see that yellow flag. So Kerry Morris is the second eliminated and our first professional eliminated. The Australian begins the long walk back to recovery. Take her revenge by getting the best snacks. You're there first. But unfortunate for Kerry Morris, as at the front, Katie Zafiris and Rachel Klammer do what they have to do.
It just seems like a much more up-tempo semi-final than the first one, and Katie never looks like she's pushing ever, but that she always sets this tempo that's uncomfortable and slowly bites. Sophie Corbell's moved past Taylor Spivey. She's enjoying this course, Sophie Corbell. You heard her in the interviews before. She didn't know what to expect. She said, ask me in 40 minutes. I think she really likes this course. She's loving the bike section. She's moving up on some of the two powerhouse women in the field. She's swimming magnificently, and she's about to put herself into the final.
Well, of this group of 5, the only 2 that have ever had a taste of this that were here last year were Klammer and Zafiris. The 3 behind them, this is the first time they've attacked the mountain here in Malta.
Yep.
As Colwell bridges across.
Spivey raced it last year.
Did she though?
Yeah, she did
Sure.
She did the
Malta and Mallorca double. Maybe it's Jersey that she didn't race last year.
She didn't race Jersey.
My mistake.
My mistake. She won the TT swim here last year.
Ah, correct.
And
in fact, I just said that about 10 minutes ago. There you go.
But look at Sophie Corbell.
Memory of a goldfish.
She's gone straight round them. She's loving this course. I think it's a little bit of a statement by Soph. She swam fantastically in the opening swim, and I think she's loving the technicality, this descent. She's such a magnificent bike handler. She's going to like the formation of this final with Cassandra Beaugrand and the others coming across to this group in the final. I think she'll be a big player because
interested in how this is all closed up.
Yeah,
we're now back at a group of 5 essentially.
She did it all, and by being aggressive out of that transition, post that swim, working the uphill, attacking this descent, and close the gap rapidly, because Katie and Rachel really pushed that opening climb, and Sophie Corbell stayed pressure on for a full lap and was able to close the gap.
That's funny. She looked the least comfortable of the top 4 at one point on the run, and then has come out on the bike and has decided that if
Spivey's living a little bit too big a gap than I would like, especially
Zane
when
just tucks in. If you're going to tuck in behind someone that, like the frame of Katie Zafiris, if you're a smaller athlete, that's the spot to be. And the 2 Italians at the top of the hill, as they start to fight it out at the front, could be in danger of being eliminated next.
It's going to be very, very tight because Sophie Corbell's just put the hammer down. Taylor Spivey much better now, able to use that flat section. She needs to stay close. She comes off that descent, Taylor. I don't think she feels comfortable. I watch her again on this descent, off that descent into that right-hander. I know Sophie seems to rip down that, as does Katie. But Taylor seems to leave a little bit of a gap, and I'm not sure if that's happening as they climb the hill or if it's happening on the descent. We'll see on this next section.
So of all those in the top 5 who'll sprint it out maybe for a short shoot, Katie Zafiris will know. She's wearing the red jersey for a reason. She has the fastest run out there if she needs to make use of it. The 2019 world champion. It's been such a great journey for Katie Zafiris, the American. 5 years ago, finished 5th in the World Series, then 4th the next year, 3rd the year after that, 2nd the year after that, and then she wrapped it up in 2019 and really ticked that one off the bucket list, and she's really had to work for it. She also picked up the 100,000 as winner of Super League last year, and she wants to get back in that pink jersey and keep that run going.
And if you're going to be a world champion, you're going to find form. Find it on the even of Olympic Games is the time to find it. And I really think Katie Zafiris is the woman to beat in Tokyo. It'll take a monumental effort to dislodge her. And the American women at that Olympic distance racing at Olympic Games, if Katie was to do that and fulfill that dream of hers, a childhood dream, would carry on from the success of Gwen Jorgensen, who won in Rio. And now Katie, which I think she'll be very, very tough to beat. I just don't know how you're going to do it.
Well, it's no doubt that Super League has really refined the little things in an athlete like Katie Zafiris, who always had the power on the engine, but just getting those transitions dialed in, just keeping the little 1%ers working in your favour, as Serrani and Malozzi continue to share the work in this little group as they try to hang in as long as they can and avoid elimination. But when it comes to the running stats of this group of 5, who look like they're all going to come off the bike roughly in the same area, Katie Zafiris has the best run on paper from Klammer, Spivey, Caldwell, and then Zane. And Sophie Caldwell will know that. She needs to come out and in and out of transition in the best possible position
Yes, and it's a shorter run than the last run because they finish at the top of the hill. So it's a dual hill run, but one descent. As the last one, we had 2 downhill sections, and I think Rachel Clammer was better on that downhill running than Sophie Caldwell. So, yeah, of course the numbers say that those athletes are going to win there, and I think once you're in that 5, I think this group's going to be quicker. This semi-final is going to be quicker. I think they're probably aware of that now. It's just been a much more powerful group up front to be able to set the tempo. They're racing for that selection of the time trial positions on the bike for the final tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I think Sophie's trying to push this bike in order to cover herself for that run where she can cruise that run and still be in a good position to pick that time trial spot.
The 2 Italian juniors have still got about 30 seconds up their sleeve, so there's every chance that both of them will be in the final tomorrow.
Which would be magnificent.
Absolutely it would. But Zane, the 27-year-old Italian, is hanging on really, really well. Not just hanging on, she's part of this group, there's no doubt about it, as they come into transition for the final time with a lap and a half, so about 1.5 kilometres between one of these athletes and a short shoot for tomorrow.
Big transition again by Rachel Clammer. It's going to be very, very important.
So what has Clammer got in this run?
This transition is everything.
Can she hold off Katie Zafiris?
Katie was good.
Clammer in first. She's out first. Colwell is going to join Zafiris with Spivey right behind. A little bit of a gap back to Zane. Not sure what's happened there. But Rachel Clammer, she knows what it takes to win a semi-final. We've seen that. Zane is safe. Just has to circle around to qualify for tomorrow. And the others will be looking to push the pace. But that pace increase has been sparked by Sophie Colwell.
Yeah.
And the others have been forced to respond.
Well, Rachel Clammer has done those transitions. She's purposely got off that bike in front. She's purposely got to that transition spot with aggression. And she's purposely pursuing this short shoot by winning this semi-final, and you can see her working that section there. She's going to work this uphill, and Katie Zafiris is aware of that. And now it's a question whether how much Katie wants this short shoot and what she's prepared to do, whether she's prepared to go in the red if Rachel Clammer's committed to that, getting that. And we'll see that now on the top of this climb.
So there's the time, 1:07, 1:08, and they're going to get out in about a 1:12. Which means they've probably got about 18 to 20 seconds at least. Oh, a bit of a poor transition there from Sereni. Sereni's crossed the line, though, in a 1:19 odd, so she's got about 11 seconds up her sleeve for this last lap.
Yeah.
She just needs to get through
11
transition one more time.
Yes, exactly.
One more time, so she can't lose that 11 seconds.
And Katie's
as
going
Clammer and Zafiris go after the short shoot.
Yes.
She's after her.
So you'll have no idea how fast they're going at the front, but these two are fighting it out for the short shoot. And Zafiris, well, we don't know where she's going to make her move. You feel like she's got a move left in her. When is that going to be?
It's going to be very interesting because Rachel looked better. She's closed the gap here. Rachel needs to move this on this downhill, which she did in the last semi-final. But the imposing figure of Katie Zafiris moving up on you, you start to say, okay, she's caught me. Do I push again or do I wait for the uphill? If I was Rachel Clammer, I'd squeeze a little bit again on this downhill. She seems to move effectively on that downhill. Let the pace come along on that flat section and see what happens on this climb.
All right, so that slapping on the pavement behind you of Katie Zafiris, you'll be able to hear that right behind you, breathing down the neck. And that's what's happening right now to Rachel Clammer as they come down to the bottom of the mountain one last time.
Sophie Caldwell's had a fantastic run. She's run away from Taylor Spivey, whether Taylor's opted to switch off. But again, Sophie Caldwell loving this course. I think swim, bike and run, she's been very much in control for the entire race. And she's just off the pace of our 2 leaders.
And the pace, it has to be said, is as hot as it's going to get in the semi-final, because we're watching these two battle it out for a big, big advantage as Sereni comes up the hill, as does Beatrice Malozzi, who's in front now. So Sereni had a bit of a problem in transition. That's lost her some time, and she could face elimination as they get through transition the last time, just depending on how fast these two are going. And they look like they've probably put 10 seconds into the Italians in this lap. We will find out. But it is a race to the finish between Rachel Clammer and Katie Zafiris, second and third in our championship race. And they have a very, very handy short shoot advantage on the line for tomorrow between the pair of them and who has the guts up this hill. We've never seen anyone be able to track down or even stay with Katie Zafiris up this hill. She has destroyed oppositions. They have a little chat to each other about it. What would they be saying?
I want this, do you know? Well, I want it too. I need this short shoot as much as you do.
What do you say? Give it to me.
Yeah, Cassandra Bogran has it. They both know how powerful Cassandra is.
She's letting it go. Is that...
I wouldn't let it go. I don't think they are. They're probably saying good luck because it's very important to both these athletes. If they're chasing championship points, you cannot give a head start to Cassandra Bogran in a run in any way, shape or form. In this course in particular, it's basically a good luck, may the best woman win. And
Zafiris took the front there by virtue of her positioning, just getting the inside line, and it's a question of whether Klammer can now respond. She doesn't look like she can. Just a little smile there.
She's been too nice.
Interested to see what... Yeah, we'll have to talk. We'll get Joe to talk to her after the race, but she might be saying, I've got nothing left in the legs.
Yeah.
And Katie Zafiris is doing what she always does, which is she just waved goodbye, Rachel Klammer, to Katie Zafiris.
Well, that says it all. Katie Zafiris wanted that short shoot. She made sure she got it. She's committed to it, and that says what she's here to do.
Well, Cassandra Bogran threw down the gauntlet in semi-final A, and Katie Zafiris has returned fire in semi-final B and left nothing out there on that final sprint. Just to remind everyone just how good she is up that hill. She will take the short shoot and the win in semi-final B from Rachel Klammer, who has come back from a almost debilitating injury earlier in the week.
More than 2 minutes faster, that semi-final.
No, that was Angie Olmo's time of 38.18. Sophie Colwell comes in. It was a 36.37 for Cassandra Bogran, so it's significantly faster.
Yeah, 30 seconds quicker.
So that is a big gap. Spivey comes across, and so does Ilaria Zane, who smiles knowing that she has done enough to make it into the final tomorrow. Guaranteed championship points for Ilaria Zane, Taylor Spivey, Sophie Colwell, Katie Zafiris, and for Rachel Klammer. A good hit out too for those athletes. 38.18 is the mark for sixth position, and it's going to be well under that. Sereni has been eliminated.
Look at that.
And Beatrice Malozzi, the world junior champion, will be the first junior to take part in a championship final in Super League Triathlon. Congratulations to Beatrice Malozzi after racing already today once. She will be the first to take advantage of the pathway we have introduced. How good is that, Macca?
That's amazing. What an amazing performance in that calibre of field, and to come off, as you said, a race in the morning, to be the only athlete in that field, to come off that race and be so close. What a talent. Junior world champion says it all.
Let's give you the rundown of the results of
We'll head down now as we see Taylor Spivey talking with Tommy Zafiris, the partner of Katie Zafiris, to Joe, who has Katie alongside her. Joe?
I do. I have Katie. Now, what a tactical race that was. You seem to be continually trying to pull away. Talk me through that.
It was a bit of a decision making within the race, because at one point I'm like, I just need to finish top 5 to get in the tomorrow and to do it automatically, but also, like, if I'm running with Rachel, I might as well run for the short shoot, because there's no point in being second. If I could have gone a lot easier if I didn't want the short shoot. So yeah, I just decided to go for it, and hopefully that's the right choice for tomorrow.
And of course, you know this course from last year where you knew how strong you were on that uphill finish. How much were you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps to have done it last year and have to have done well on it. So I feel like I can come back tomorrow and do a good job. And it was nice because we have the bike TT tomorrow. So it was really nice to do the race today and get a feel for the course and everything.
And now, of course, you have that short shoot. So, of course, you took second place in Jersey. How much do we want revenge tomorrow?
For sure. I always want to be on the top step.
Excellent. Congratulations. A great race win. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Zafiris, once again, a winner here in Malta. Let's look back at how it all played out. Sophie Colwell, as she always does, takes half a length straight off the pontoon into the water and set the pace in that opening swim, but Katie Zafiris and Rachel Klammer were right behind. And as you said, Mac, the pace was on right from the beginning. We saw it end up in a 30-second quicker semi-final, but they were strung out and these three at the front, but pushed the pace from the beginning.
Well, there was a group of 5 up front, and as you said, bigger groups of people move quicker around a course like this, and the up and down hills played an advantage. Katie Zaferis loves these climbs, and with Sophie Caldwell really finding herself on this course, it set up that group of 5. This transition by Rachel Klammer in the first run had a rabbit up the road for the 4 behind to chase. That kept the tempo up again. It was Katie Zaferis who pushed up to close that gap. Rachel Klammer into the swim. Katie closing the gap in the swim on Rachel, which was a big gap, as you can see. And that set the entire race up. 30 seconds is a huge difference.
Yeah, she was eventually tracked down by Katie Zaferis, but Rachel Klammer putting any doubts about her fitness to bed with her effort in this semi-final. So anyone in the rest of the field who were hoping that Rachel Klammer would go easy on them, well, that has gone out of the water because she was solid all the way around. Sophie Caldwell really pushed the pace on this bike and brought it back again to a group of 5 who, all of them, only racing for the short shoot and, of course, for spots in the TT selection spots. They came out onto the run. Taylor Spivey looked a little bit behind. She ended up pushing back up into 4th position. But Katie Zaferis, as she does, looks like she's running the same pace all the time, but people just tend to fall away as she continues her same pace. Looks like she could run the same way for 2 days straight. She came on the inside line of the roundabout, and Rachel Klammer waved goodbye to the back of Katie Zaferis, who again took the tape at the top of Mount Malta. And she did it in a very, very quick time. 30 seconds quicker than Cassandra Bogran in the opening semi-final. But having said that, she was pushed a lot harder by athletes of high quality, including Sophie Caldwell, who crossed the line in 3rd. And really dug deep and showed as a power athlete exactly the kind of power she can put down on the road on a course such as this. A little bit less technical and asking a little bit more of the legs. And that is semi-final A and semi-final B in the books. There were plenty of great stories throughout the 2 of them. And we're going to head down now to Joe with one of the best stories. Beatrice Malozzi, the World Junior Champ, getting the call up to the final.
Well, Beatrice, you are officially the first junior to make it into a Super League final. How does that sound?
It was very excited and happy to race today in the junior and the elite semi-final.
2 races in one day. Most people couldn't complete that, but it seemed to help you. Is that correct?
Yeah, the second race, it was very hard, also because I made a race completely alone and because I have a problem this last month with my brain because I crashed on the bike and I have no work on the swim because it was very hard to back a race very fast with the elite athletes and it was it's okay and I am happy.
Well, it didn't seem to slow you down, and of course you were racing with some of the best women in the world, senior, of course the world champion Katie. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was very fantastic experience. And I had also how works with Katie, and
we're just losing you.
And this was a pleasure to race with them.
Well, 2 races. We've got another big race tomorrow, so get some rest and recovery.
Yeah, I'm ready for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, so 2 races and carrying an injury, but just race against the best in the world and make it through to a championship final.
Look out. Does that not say it all? 2 races, carrying an injury, quite comfortable, manages to do the post-race interview, excited about tomorrow's event. You know, it makes a lot of sense that her swim's off and not knowing, having just heard for the first time that she did have a bike crash, it makes a lot more sense because her bike and run was magnificent and the swim was just a little bit off. We saw Serengeni catch her a couple of times in the swim and that wouldn't have happened, I don't think, you know, prior to that Lausanne World Championships that she won. So it'll be very, very interesting tomorrow. Very, very powerful group of women right there.
They were the top 5 all the way through that race, and from left to right, Zaferis, Klammer, Caldwell, Spivey and Zane are your top 5 automatic qualifiers to go through to the women's final tomorrow. They join some extremely talented athletes from semi-final A, and it's going to be a fantastic race tomorrow. There's no doubt, as Rachel Klammer's, she's too fast for her own kit, falling apart.
The green biker's kit. think she was saying she felt a bit restricted in the swim. It looked like throwing her arm up, but I thought she swam magnificently.
Indeed, and there are the results from the athletes that make it through. Malozzi in a 35-33. 34-22 was the final time with Zafiris as well. I don't think that's exactly correct, but we'll move on from that. Spivey and Ilaria Zane, so the names are there, but Zafiris was the one that won it, and it was by about probably 6 or 7 seconds in the end, so apologies for the mistake there. So some great racing from the two semi-finals. We have packed fields for the men's semi-finals coming up, 15 in each of the heats, and only 15 total go through, and we are going to lose some big names. Right now, though, we're going to have a look back over the next 6 or 7 minutes to some of the highlights from women's semi-final A and B. So Cassandra Beaugrand will win your short shoot, barring some kind of incident. She's got 1 kilometre, probably about 1.4 kilometres left to go on the run. Yuko Takahashi sitting nicely in second position. She'll get a very good choice on the bike TT, depending on, of course, the speed of the second semi-final, which will be coming up at 3 o'clock local time. And Sheedy Ryan will not know that Angelica Olmo has a 5-second penalty, but she'll see that and go, 1 more lap to go after this. I should have it in the bag.
But Angie needs to push. Angela Olmo needs to push, because that 5 seconds will be added to the time, which will affect. She's now in that 6th position, which means time matters to her to secure a spot in the final. So that 5 seconds slows her up even more.
There is Megan Foley and Elena Danilova in the background watching pink jersey holder Cassandra Beaugrand disappear up to the top of the hill for the final time. Takahashi second through. And Claudie Samard there too, watching on. Takahashi will finish second, so a fantastic effort from her and a real return to form after Jersey 3 weeks ago. Turn around and become national champion once again. Back in Japan, and then arrive here in Malta with a big confidence boost. And finishing second in her semi-final, barring incident. Here comes Perriot and Rappaport, who are fighting now simply for bike TT position choices.
She's very comfortable, Leonie, and in a much better headspace. She was so disappointed after that crash in Jersey. She was in fantastic form. You can see how good a form she's in, and I think she's very happy with the race. Felicity running as she always does.
She's leaving nothing to chance,
nothing
Felicity
to chance.
Sheedy Ryan. She wants to be there when the guns are firing tomorrow, and she will be. She hasn't really even had a look around looking for Angie Olmo.
Well, she's going to score championship points for the first time by making the final, get championship points, and that's important in the overall at the end of the season for the money you're going to take home.
Oh, that was close to getting eliminated. Just straight through at the 130.
Oy. She's got about 600 metres to go as they come up to the finish line now.
And coming up to the finishing line, as easy as you like, Cassandra Beaugrand will win semi-final A, and she will do it in style and send a message to Kani Zafiris, Rachel Klammer, and the rest of the athletes yet to race that she is in supreme form. Cassandra Beaugrand, your championship leader and your winner of the short shoot for semi-final A. Off the back of a great race where she stuck with Beaugrand with excellent transitions and a good all-round performance. Yuko Takahashi is second. She will progress to Sunday's racing, and she'll do that easily as well. And Beaugrand will wait for her great friend, Leonie Perriot, to come up the hill, absolutely swallow that 5-second penalty. Won't make a lick of difference. Rappaport, if she finishes within 5 seconds, will actually take third position overall. So we'll see if that happens. Perriot puts an extra spurt in at the end. Good crowd already building here. And Rappaport doesn't know that she could take third position. Don't know whether she came in under the 5 seconds or not.
It'll be close.
And Felicity Sheedy Ryan will be your last automatic qualifier for Sunday's racing, and she's very happy, the Australian.
Sophie Corbell's had a fantastic run. She's run away from Taylor Spivey, whether Taylor's opted to switch off, but again, Sophie Corbell loving this course. I think swim, bike and run, she's been very much in control for the entire race, and she's just off the pace of our 2 leaders.
And the pace, has to be said, is as hot as it's going to get in the semi-final, because we're watching these two battle it out for a big, big advantage as Sereni comes up the hill, as does Beatrice Malozzi, who's in front now. So Sereni had a bit of a problem in transition. That's lost her some time, and she could face elimination as they get through transition the last time, just depending on how fast these two are going. And they look like they've probably put 10 seconds into the Italians in this lap. We will find out. But it is a race to the finish between Rachel Klammer and Katie Zafiris, second and third in our championship race. And they have a very, very handy short shoot advantage on the line for tomorrow between the pair of them and who has the guts up this hill. We've never seen anyone be able to track down or even stay with Katie Zafiris up this hill. She has destroyed oppositions. They have a little chat to each other about it. What would they be saying?
I want this, do you know? Well, I want it too. I need this short shoot as much as you do.
What do you say? Give it to me.
Yeah, Cassandra Beaugrand has it. They both know how powerful Cassandra is.
She's letting it go. Is that...
I wouldn't let it go. I don't think they are. They're probably saying good luck, because it's very important to both these athletes. If they're chasing championship points, you cannot give a head start to Cassandra Beaugrand in a run in any way, shape or form of this course in particular. It's basically a good luck, may the best woman win. And
Zafiris took the front there by virtue of her positioning, just getting the inside line, and it's a question of whether Klammer can now respond. She doesn't look like she can. There's a little smile there.
She's been too nice.
Interested to see what... Yeah, we'll have to talk. We'll get Joe to talk to her after the race, but she might be saying, I've got nothing left in the legs.
Yeah.
And Katie Zafiris is doing what she always does, which is she just waved goodbye, Rachel Klammer, to Katie Zafiris.
Well, that says it all. Katie Zafiris wanted that short shoot. She made sure she got it. She's committed to it, and that says what she's here to do.
Well, Cassandra Beaugrand threw down the gauntlet in semi-final A, and Katie Zafiris has returned fire in semi-final B and left nothing out there on that final sprint, just to remind everyone just how good she is up that hill. She will take the short shoot and the win in semi-final B from Rachel Klammer, who has come back from a almost debilitating injury earlier in the week.
More than 2 minutes faster, that semi-final.
No, that was Angie Olmo's time of 38.18. Sophie Colwell comes in. It was a 36.37 for Cassandra Beaugrand, so it's significantly faster.
Yeah, 30 seconds quicker.
So that is a big, big gap. Spivey comes across, and so does Ilaria Zane, who smiles knowing that she has done enough to make it into the final tomorrow. Guaranteed championship points for Ilaria Zane, Taylor Spivey, Sophie Colwell, Katie Zafiris, and for Rachel Klammer. A good hit out too for those athletes. 38.18 is the mark for sixth position, and it's going to be well under that. Sereni has been eliminated.
Look at that.
And Beatrice Malozzi, the world junior champion, will be the first junior to take part in a championship final in Super League Triathlon. Congratulations to Beatrice Malozzi after racing already today once. She will be the first to take advantage of the pathway we have introduced. What a morning, what a Sioux semi-finals of racing they were. I say morning, it's not morning, it's 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But this is what the start list is going to be in the final. Bianca Sereni, Megan Foley and Elena Danilova as your eliminated athletes who were eliminated last will join the women's final, led by Katie Zafiris and Cassandra Beaugrand. You can see there, it was nearly a minute in the end between Zafiris and Beaugrand's finishings. Klammer, Colwell, Spivey and Zane all finished ahead of Cassandra Beaugrand, who won semi-final A from Takahashi. Beatrice Malozzi is the lead junior in 37.16. Leonie Perriot, Summer Rappaport, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, Angelica Olmo makes it in as well. Sereni, Foley and Danilova. That is your women's start list for the final tomorrow, and that takes place at 2:30 p.m. local time. But now we turn our attention to the men, and how about this for semi-final A? The world champion Vincent Lewis, Hayden Wild, who was so strong in Jersey, a semi-final winner, Leo Berger, Aaron Royal, Gustav Eden, the 70.3 world champion, Con Doherty of Ireland, Igor Polyansky, Tyler Mislichuk, who won the Tokyo Test event, just a few weeks ago. Dimitri Polyanski, Matthew Hauser, who is the fastest we hear across the mixed team relay distances, which are very similar to our distances in the world ever. And look out for number 12, Sean Gallia, who is the Maltese national champion. Got a look in this year, and he is going to make the most of it. He's 9 from 9 with his race wins. But down at the bottom there, Simon Henseleit. Last in Jersey, he was the junior who won through to the semi-final. He just made it in from the semi-final to the final. Didn't race in the end. He has a really, really interesting story. And right now we're going to hear a little bit more about the story of German Simon Henseleit.
I'm super excited to be here. You know, after being in Jersey for the first time in Super League, getting to know all athletes, being in the mix with such big athletes, like, you know, the most popular, successful athletes in the world. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, you know, I came to Jersey with the goal to achieve this. So I didn't know exactly if we're gonna race the same day, the pros, or like the next event in Malta. But in the briefing on Friday, Joe told us, yeah, if you win tomorrow or come in second, you race the pros in the afternoon. So I was like, okay, I had to come in first or second.
You looked around and you saw all of these professional athletes that have been doing this. I mean, what were you thinking?
And my expectations weren't that high, so I thought, okay, try not to get eliminated.
That's what everyone's goal is that.
Yeah, I took my chance, went out hard from the beginning. Yeah, then I ended up sprinting for the final place and I didn't even knew it. And like the head referee came to me after I finished the race and said like, you're in. And I was like, oh, in where? And yeah, you made it to the final. I had to think about it. And then my coach came next to me and yeah, he made a cut and said, yeah, no, that's gonna be too much. Yeah, 2 years before, the doctors don't really know where or what it's coming from. And so my bones are a bit too weak for the amount I was running that time. The first triathlon of the year, 2017. On the last 100 meters, where I sprinted for like 7th place, my left tibia completely broke. So it was a really heavy stress fracture. I have to take like four months without running, and then slowly started that triathlon thing again in 2018.
When did you find out that we were going to give you a second shot here in Malta?
A week later, when Michael Dals wrote me on Instagram, and directly after that, Joe called me. And he said like, yeah, I have great news, you're in for Malta.
How good is that? In for Malta. Missed out on the chance to make the championship final in Jersey. Well, he did make it. He decided not to take it, but now he's back for Malta. And I can tell you that Simon Henseleit has all the skills required to make it through to Sunday. But if he is indeed going to do that, he is going to have to conquer 14 of the world's best and this incredible course. Out off the pontoon, 120 to the first turn buoy, quite a long distance to the second turn buoy, and then a nice short trip back into home. The bike and the run are on the same course. Head out to the roundabout on the far left of your screen and up Mount Malta. That's the Trick St. Lorenz. And then a turn further up to the highest point of the course at the top near Trick Jandru. Then down a sweeping left-hand turn. Very, very fast descent, 60, 70 kilometres an hour. A very tight right-hand turn and then left and right into transition. That's the course, but also they've got to take on the semi-final format, and this is a little at what it's all about.
Semi-finals. From a mass start, athletes face a 300-metre swim, 4-kilometre bike and a 1.6-kilometre run twice. 2 consecutive triathlons at full speed, no breaks and no room for conservation. The semi-final format is a true examination of pace and precision, with spots in Sunday's final awarded to those who can withstand the pressure.
6 legs, 5 transitions, 15 of the world's best, and only 5 automatic qualifying spots. You'll see the coloured jerseys out there across the course of the semi-finals. Vincent Lewis is your championship leader. He wears the pink. The fastest swimmer from Jersey was Aidan Longcroft-Harris. He's in the second semi. Aaron Royal, the fastest runner, and Hayden Wild was the fastest on the bike. The fastest through transition was Christian Blumenfeld in Jersey, and those jerseys can, of course, change. It's an accumulated points system with points on the line for those who are quickest through the disciplines, at least the first of each discipline in both the semi and the final. There is Nicolo Strada, who won the junior racing at Italy's junior ranks are just about incredible. Both the Italian women who were good in the semi-final have made it through to the final, the juniors, and Nicolo Strada will be looking to emulate that. He's alongside Simon Henselite, who we just heard of. He's the other one in the white, but this, Macca, is an absolutely stacked semi-final.
What a semi-final. This is beyond stacked. Vincent Louis, the current world champion, and our pink jersey. He's never not worn a pink jersey. On the far right of this, look for him to be out fast. Mislachuk will be quick. Hauser will be quick. Unbelievable.
Hayden Wild, Leo Berger, Gustav Eden, Igor Polyansky. There's so much talent, and 10 of these guys will either have to wait or they're going to go home. 5 will go through, and we're off in semi-final A here in Malta. And it is an absolute washing machine as they head out to the first turn, boy. You can see on Vincent the far right of the, well, now on the far left of your screen is Vincent Lewis, who decided he wanted to take the open water on the left-hand side and try and swim across them, and that's exactly what he's doing. There is Lewis, the championship leader.
Matt Hauser, who's usually out very, very quick, been caught up in this washing machine in the centre of this as they merge towards his first swim buoy with so many more athletes. It's interesting not to see Matt Hauser in the white jersey, which we saw him in last year.
Is that Henselite
that has gone
Henselite on the inside?
Has led it. He definitely has. 100% Henselite.
So beside him as well
as
either
him or Strada, because 2 white jerseys on the inside had a fantastic start.
Strada there, just behind on Vince Lewis's feet, and there's a group of 5 who've already kind of gapped the chasing pack, which includes Tyler Mislachuk and Leo Berger. So, the pace is absolutely on here, and Vincent Lewis is where he normally is, which is at the front of this race. There's Lewis alongside.
No, it's the Italian Strada.
It is Strada.
Nicolo Strada, the junior who came out of the junior ranks early this morning to put himself in this final.
He's already raced
with
today.
The world champion.
Not only that, he's hanging on his hip too, which Vincent Lewis will not like.
Be interesting to see what's said as they get out of the water. Listen here, kid. Give me some room.
He's like, no, I'll do what I want. Thank you very much. Already won a race today. Have you already run a race today, Vincent? No, you haven't. So the 2 of them are out the front.
There's
Mislachuk on the inside.
Polyansky on his inside.
And Henselite.
Henselite on the right. So the junior's doing very well.
Absolutely well.
It says a lot because the juniors come through this tight, aggressive, short course racing. As you start to move up in age, you start to move towards that Olympic distance racing, which requires quite a different skill set, which is what makes Vincent Louis so remarkable, is how he's able to come back to this very, very short dynamic racing and be so dynamic, and then go up and win a world title at these longer Olympic distance racing. He's a special talent indeed. Tyler Mislachuk is always magnificent in the water. He tends to position himself very well. Very disappointed missing out in the semi-final in Jersey. Really struggled in those cold conditions. They're not cold here, so I expect to see him push up.
Nicolo Strada, 4th in the Italian Junior National Championships. Multiple Junior European Cup top 10s. Alongside him, the world champion.
And Aaron Royal a lot further back than I would anticipate Aaron Royal being. He's
Hayden
usually
Wild
a
as
big
well.
swimmer. Hayden Wild. Aaron Royal, a much better swimmer in the water than Hayden Wild, so he's got caught up in that congestion.
Berger is at the back there too. That is Wild, Berger and Royal in a line there, green, yellow, red. And behind them, number 33 is Gustav Eden, who we really back to have a big weekend this weekend. He's at the back of this swim pack.
He'll love this bike course, Gustav Eden. He'll love it. Vincent
Nicolo Strada and Vincent Lewis.
Strada's gone straight round him. I love him already.
Polyansky, Mislachuk, Henselite, Vasco Viasa.
Ollie Turner.
Ollie Turner's there as well. There's Royal. But first out of transition is going to be Nicolo Strada.
Wow. He is a committed. Look at him.
Look at him. He's loving it.
He knows it.
Absolutely loving it. The crowd are loving it too, and he's made time with the champion right behind him to wave to the crowd. Mislachuk, Vilasa, Turner's had a good start. Polyansky, Henselite,
Maddie Hauser a lot further back than I
Hauser's
thought.
behind
Leo
Wild.
Bergier.
There's
Gustav
Eden and Con Doherty. So there's 14, and there is Sean Galia, who's the local Maltese talent. He's out and onto the bike as well. He's finding the going very, very tough already.
He's going to have a tough day now with no one around him and so much power up front.
What a great story, though, is for Sean Galia. He's a lovely young man. Spent some time with him this week doing the local media rounds.
Nicola Strada.
Look at him go. He's not even puffed. He's got the smile on his face.
He is having a ball. He is enjoying this immensely, as you would. You have you're probably your idol sitting off your wheel in the pink jersey in Vincent Louis, the current world champion. And you've led him up the first climb past all your friends and family.
So, Strada, Lewis, Mislachuk sporting a very questionable new moustache. Velasa, Turner, Polyansky, Henselite, Wild, Dimitri Polyansky, Aaron Royal, who's overtaken Matty Hauser, Leo Berger, Gustav Eden, and Con Doherty. So in 13th position sits the 70.3 world champion, Leo Berger, top 5 athlete from last year, and out the front of all of them,
Hayden Wild very good on that inside run there. He took a real tight line. He overgeared that and he lost all the advantage he made. But he took that chance coming up, cutting off on the inside, pushing a couple of the athletes wide on that right hand. But I think he'll get it right this next turn and move up a little bit more. But that's a showing of bike skills and a lack of fear on that descent, which we know the Falcon loves this course.
Hayden Wild, they call him the Maltese Falcon, picked that up as a nickname last year. He's from New Zealand. I don't know why. We don't need to know. But having had that big accident yesterday, we spoke to him an hour ago. He's had 7 stitches last night in hospital, but he's back out there. So he's gone from Falcon to the Phoenix, rising from the ashes.
Yes.
As Gustav Eden looks like he's been dropped a little off the back here. He's in 14th position. Doherty's managed to bridge over with Berger and Hauser.
You get used to this, don't you? Vincent Lewis is just always on the front of these races. He just finds a way to move up, put himself in position, control the racing, and everyone seems to sit off and...
Big accident there. It's Henselite. Hayden Wild's been caught up in it as well, and he's trying to get through, but it's Strada that began it.
And Turner,
so he's gone
Olivia
too
Turner
hard.
Was in that.
He's gone too hard,
and
and Henselite is out. And he's got a problem with the bike, and I think that was Nicolo Strada that began that. Unconfirmed, we'll have to look at it again, but they're all back on the bike.
That's unfortunate for Henselite. He was right in the mix there. Ollie Turner is not quite strong on the bike. But you'd love to have someone else there with you that got caught up in that. If Hayden Wild had hung around a little bit more, you know that you'd have a group of people that would chase and just hope that he will see it here.
Let's have a look. Keep your eyes on Strada in the white, on the inside. Lewis gets around, Velasa gets around, Mislachuk gets around, Strada on the inside, and Henselite comes across,
clips the wheel of
Velasa and hits Strada. So apologies to the Italians. It was Henselite who ran out of room on Velasa, and there is Hayden Wild just trying to find his way through. On the inside goes Eden, Hauser, Doherty, and Berger. So they'll have to work hard now.
What tends to happen is if you're around that, you tend to get a little bit uneasy on this next lap. You start to look around and think, oh, I was lucky to get away with that. And it's if you're on the front, which Vincent Louis is now, you can start to push the pace, capitalising on that anxiety that exists in the bunch right now. And Hayden Wild's probably the biggest casualty. He's been caught out a little bit further back and has got some work to do to close those gaps. Gustav Eden, the 70.3 Ironman world champion, is now moved up and was able to capitalise on that congestion.
We're really going to start seeing the class of Hayden Wild here if he can get back in touch with that pack. There he is, he's on.
He's on.
So how many matches has he burnt, Hayden Wild, after yesterday's accident to get back onto the pack? But how strong is he? 2-time under junior Xterra world champion.
Is it Matt Hauser? He's going around the top there.
Hauser was ill in Jersey.
Yeah, he's a little bit further back, Matt Hauser, than I thought. His swim usually sets him up. He's able to capitalise on that. He's not loving that climb. He's a bit bigger as an athlete. He tends to be losing a little bit of that.
Strada came in hot there.
He did. But Hauser needs to move up. It's him isolated back here in those two and close in on that front group. But with Vincent Lewis on the front, you know that the pace is going to be on.
Well, Hauser, he weighs 78 kilograms, which put that into context, a Henry Schoeman will tip the scales in peak race form at about 56 kilos. So that's a 40% difference or something like that. 30%, it's a big one. There's Wild sitting in the green in about 7th position. And there is Henselite and Turner, who are trying to work together to close that gap as much as possible. So very unfortunate for the pair of them. But at the front, Vincent Lewis, as he does, leads up the hill once again from Tyler Mislachuk, who was eliminated in his semi-final last time. And Vasco Velasa, who was unheralded to an extent coming into Jersey, had a great semi-final, just missed out by 1 second on making it into the final, and he'll be keen to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I was able to speak to him after that semi-final in Jersey. We were out at dinner and he happened to be there. I said, oh, what do you think of the Super League racing? How'd you find the conditions? He said, for some reason I could not get going. Trust me, Macca, I'm a lot better than that. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's showing that today. I think he prefers this open course. He's a lot closer to the front. And all of them, Tyler Mislachuk in particular, basically said to themselves, let's just shadow Vincent Lewis. He's always going to be close to the front. He's always going to be in the action. The closer we stay to that man, the closer we are to winning this event. And Tyler Mislachuk has not got off his wheel all day.
All right, 7 athletes, and Hayden Wild hasn't had time even to put his feet in his shoes yet. And off they come off the bike. So, Velasa right behind Vincent Lewis. Velasa smart enough to put his bike in backwards, but Lewis hasn't done that. Maybe a second or two.
Hayden Wild in now, behind Lewis. Big transition.
Wild in. And
needs to go. Good transition.
Wild goes.
Aaron
There's
Royal,
Con Doherty.
sloppy.
And here comes Matt Hauser, who is a little bit further back than he would have liked. Still behind Nicolo Strada. There's Aaron Royal ahead of Doherty. And in comes Turner, who's forced to go around the outside of Polyansky, and Henselit's missed his spot.
Another mistake.
So he's having a tough day at the office, Simon Henselite. And he is down in 12th position. Dimitri Polyansky in 13th. He had knee surgery only in August. And he's still on the way back. And he's the only one. He's the one that Henselite's chasing as they head off onto the run. Aaron Royal all by himself in 7th position ahead of Doherty and Strada. But at the front, it's the world champ.
Vasco Velasa just shadowing him all day. He's got a committed race. This committed race for him in this, much different to what we're seeing him do in Jersey. Velasa and Tyler Mislachuk just off the back of him. I'm wondering if they're going to let this gap open. I was expecting Gustav Eden to really shadow Vincent Lewis as well, because he doesn't have a big swim. This second swim's important. He doesn't want to put himself in a position where he can be run out of that top 5, and with this much talent in this first semi-final, that is a big possibility if you're doing a run shootout for this last run.
Further bad news for Dimitri Polyansky and Simon Henselite, who both rode over the dismount line just then and will pick up a 5-second penalty to be served at the end of the race. And there is Sean Gallia, who comes through transition in 15th position, and he will be the first to be eliminated. The local Maltese athlete, he's won 9 from 9 races in 2019, but he's found the pace a little bit too hot here in semi-final A. And out the front, it is Vincent Lewis and Vasco Velasa from
Amazing.
Portugal.
Hayden Wild in 3rd in the green jersey.
Can't say enough about the early effort of Vasco Velasa, who was very good, even if he didn't think he was early doors. He missed out on the final by 1 second in Jersey, and that's no mean feat. And also no mean feat, moving up into 3rd position after getting caught up in that accident. Hayden Wild ahead of Tyler Mislachuk.
Look at the power in this top 7. Like the athletes in this top 7 are some of the best athletes on the planet. And you're seeing Aaron Royal, the Olympian from Australia, one of the biggest swimmers in our red jersey, sitting in 7th with Leo Bergier, who's probably one of France's most talented future up-and-comers. He potentially could win a gold medal with Vincent Lewis in the Tokyo Olympics, sitting in 6th. And then behind them is some of the Gustav Edens, the Matt Hausers. It's amazing. And the danger that they're putting themselves in right now, and Vincent Lewis knows that. He's putting the boot in, opening that gap, giving him a margin of error to control this race.
There was Eden Bergier, who sit on the bubble in 5th and 6th. Of course, 5 athletes automatically qualifying for the final. And there is, as you say, probably a future gold medalist and already a world champion, current world champion. And then ahead of a former under-23 world champion there in Royal. Now 29 years of age and has plenty left in the tank in his career. And they're all in peak physical condition. This shows you the quality of the athletes throughout the Super League field, that each of them hold world titles or former world titles or Olympic medals or any number of things.
I'm surprised to see Tyler Mislachok not move up with Hayden Wild. Tyler knows that he's a very, very cluey racer. Jonathan Hall, his coach, is one of the smartest tactical coaches in the world. They walk through these possibilities that can happen in a race every single time they come to an event like this, and Tyler would know that the group up front of Vincent Lewis, of Valasa and Hayden Wild are going to move away. They're going to be able to use this swim to establish a break and give them that ability to secure those 5 slots. By dropping off that group, he's now isolated. He leaves himself open to Gustav Eden and others to close it and could put himself out of that top 5.
So Simon Henseleit has just been informed, as has Dimitri Polyansky, of the 5 seconds added to their time. Whilst out the front, Hayden Wild has moved into 2nd position.
He looks great, Hayden
ahead
Wild.
of Valasa. Yep, he's had quite the 24 hours. Had one accident, been caught up in a 2nd accident, and he's sitting right behind the world champion with Valasa as well alongside.
Tyler needs to close that gap. Use this downhill. That's the gap he needs to close, because he leaves himself open to Gustav Eden here and Leo Bergier. He's a better swimmer than both those gentlemen, but it's just a danger position to be in when there's so much power up front, especially with Vincent Lewis, who has now put the boot in on this downhill and opened up a gap on Valasa, who now finds himself isolated. And Hayden Wild knows how important it is to stay as close to that man in pink as possible.
When you look at someone like Valasa, who is racing against what is now the world champion, Hayden Wild,
future
race winner, future world champion. Behind them, Tokyo Test event winner Tyler Mislachok. But you look at Valasa, who feels like the odd man out. He's only 20 years of age.
Yeah.
He already has 33 ITU starts. He's already the former European junior champion. He's the former Portuguese junior champion. He was 5th in the under-23 European Championships. And he was 4th in the under-23 grand final, the world champs in Lausanne. So he's got plenty of experience for a 20-year-old. So the resumes are long here at Super League Triathlon. Pretty much everyone's except for mine. Even my co-commentator has 4 world titles. He's been grazing in a good paddock since then, though. No doubt. Lewis.
Hayden
Wild. And then a little bit of air back to Valasa, Mislachok, and Gustav Eden, who was 11th about 10 minutes ago and has moved himself up into 5th with Bergier. But Mislachok has Valasa to swim with now.
And Mislachok's a fantastic swimmer. He'll like the open water. He'll like to have that free space to move with two athletes in front of him to mark and to target. If Valasa can stay on his feet and just give him that ability to close that gap, I think he potentially could close in on Hayden Wild, depending on how much Vincent Lewis wants to push it. Hayden dived straight onto the hip of Vincent Lewis, which he wouldn't have liked. It would have been much better for him to dive onto those feet and keep that pace up front. Matt Hauser, not having a great day, not enjoying that climb. He didn't like that opening swim. Actually, Vincent Lewis has dropped Hayden Wild from those opening pictures, it looks like, in the swim.
There is Hauser, who makes his lonely way into the water for the 2nd time. 17 minutes gone. Con Doherty is giving a good acquittal of himself as well. In 9th position ahead of Igor Polyansky. Dimitri Polyansky's moved up into 11th. He has to push the pace. He knows he's got a 5-second penalty to serve. Ahead of Strada, who did the victory lap about 15 laps too early out the front in the first 2 or 3 kilometres, and there he is now in 12th position ahead of Turner and Henseleit, who also has a 5-second penalty.
But we know Strada can swim, so if he's going to take him any time, it's going to be now in this swim. The second swim, as a big swimmer, it's usually these second swims where you can use your strength to open up. Ollie Turner eliminated.
He'll be very upset with how this has played out
as well.
Turner and Henseleit. So
all 3 of them. So Strada's not going to get in the water. I saw him eliminated there next to Ollie Turner.
Right. So Turner just remonstrating slightly with Henseleit. You'll know that he got caught up in a situation that was possibly of Henseleit's making. So a learning curve for all of these athletes.
Hayden Wild not able to hold the feet of Vincent Lewis. And he's been picked up by Tyler Mislachok.
And from Vasco Valasa. So, beautiful shot there as we see a lovely swim from Vincent Lewis.
How are you going to take out this gentleman on screen? He's just always in control. He's no weakness across the board. They shadow him in the racing. They allow him to dictate terms, and you can't out-kick him. You can't out-swim him. It doesn't seem you can outdo anything. You can't do anything to him, and he's just opened up a gap again like he did in Jersey over the world's best athletes.
Well, the big question is, will the bike time trial tomorrow, the bike being, he's so strong across all disciplines, you wouldn't say the bike is his strength, but you also wouldn't say it's his weakness.
Well, I don't think it's had to be a strength for him. He's just such a tactically astute racer. He does what he has to do on the bike, and we're always looking at the fastest bike splits, and sometimes they are actually representative of the slowest swimmer that happened to move up in a course like this, where he's always the quickest swimmer. The next semi-final has all the swim talent in it, so he looks a lot better in this semi-final in the water than what you're going to see in the second semi-final. But far out, what a statement. He has been on the front of this race since the first stroke and hasn't let up.
Comes out of the swim under 20 minutes for 4 legs of this race. Tucks it all into the top of his jersey, and with another one on his back and the pink, Vincent Lewis jumps on the S-Works Venge once again.
Great swim by Tyler Mislachok.
Mislachok comes out in second position ahead of Valasa and Wild. So there's your chasing pack. We'll be looking for the short shoot for tomorrow. But is there a short shoot that Vincent Lewis has not picked up in Super League racing over the last 12 months? I don't think there is.
No, there's
I think he's had the advantage every time.
Aaron Royal, with a great swim, was able to take Gustav Eden with him, and he's brought Leo Bergier up. So these three need to work very, very hard together. Tyler Mislachok would be aware of that. There's some danger here, being so close to those three in front. 3 makes 6, which is 7. It doesn't go into 5. And you do not want to leave yourself open to relying on times with the amount of talent in both these semi-finals.
Aaron Royal will know that. He's sitting on the bubble at Matt Hauser out of the water, having a look across and not seeing anyone ahead of him. Knows he needs to put in a big bike leg if he is going to get one of the lucky loser spots. Of course, the top 5 go through from each semi-final, but also the next 5 fastest times as he takes his all-black specialised out on the black carpet, and he's already nearly a minute 10 back.
Because this man will not let up. Suddenly you're putting a
We're
lot
about
of
to see
players
mass
into
eliminations
90-second eliminations in a semi-final.
Eagle won't make it.
It's going to be tight.
Doherty won't make it.
He knows it too. He's sat up.
Stopped.
He's seen the clock. It's over.
Eagle's putting it on, but he knows he's got nowhere to go. But Polyansky's smart enough to know that he needs to get to that mountain line and get eliminated for the clock to stop.
Because
Doherty's just stopped.
That was a rookie mistake by Doherty, because Polyansky now has been eliminated.
Well, he still hasn't been eliminated.
Well, he's been eliminated before Doherty, so if it comes back on a count back, I highly doubt that it will. Polyansky will get that spot over Doherty.
So Doherty's day is finished. Igor Polyansky's day finished, but it continues and gets better for Vincent Lewis. Dmitry Polyansky, the brother, he is also out. He is, by his own admission, not at full fitness. And he'll also pay an extra 5 seconds. Valasa, Mislachuk and Wild stuck together and working together. But they can't even take a second on Vincent Lewis. Eden, Bergier and Royal are now bunched together in a second group of 3, and that is your top 7 with Hauser all alone in 8th.
Look at that. There's 3 against 3 there, and that's the importance of that little race there. Forget Vincent Lewis. He's going to get the short shoot. He's going to win this semi-final. The 3 against 3, the 6 behind are racing for 4 positions. I say that because the top 5 are into the final. And all of those, it'll be a match race between them, because I cannot pick a difference in the run leg. It'd be, I'd say Tyler Mislachuk is probably the better runner. Gustav Eden may find himself, I think Hayden Wild would get through. But Valasa showed in that first run that he's committed to a final slot, and he'll turn himself inside out to get it.
Wild now, we know how good he is up the hills. Mislachuk enjoys the hills as well, and Valasa looks like he just enjoys the fight, and he's certainly doing what he said and giving us a better showing than what he had in Jersey, which was still impressive. But there is absolute daylight between the field and Vincent Lewis, who is enjoying a ride out the front and just putting more and more time into these athletes who are tasting the elimination flag at the other end. Across the black carpet, once again, through transition, down near the yachts in the harbour here in Burgu. It's just a procession for him.
It really is. The data says he's not a great bike rider. You're holding off probably the best bike, one of the best bike riders in the field in our green jersey, and
who has two other
people to work with, and you're gapping him. So, as I said, sometimes data does lie, because I think Vincent Lewis, besides being remarkably talented at all three disciplines of triathlon, is probably the smartest tactical racer in the field, and it's why you see the success. And he just does work when he needs to do work. So recording the fastest times is irrelevant to him. The most important thing to him is wearing that pink jersey and winning these races, and he does that better than anybody.
Well, he doesn't look like he's putting the cue in the rack either. He doesn't look like he's just coasting to the end. He's looking like he's putting as much time as possible into this field. So that, because if you remember back to Jersey, he did this. He was in semi-final A.
Yep.
He sat up a little bit, perhaps.
He was joined.
He still got the short shoot.
He was joined by Martin Van Riel. He did the majority of the work. Van Riel, considered one of the best bike riders, if you remember, in Jersey, and then just shut it down. Did what he needed to do to get in. Then we told him.
But then, semi-final B, Hayden Wild came out and won that by 20 seconds and dragged people with him, so that just like what happened with Cassandra Beaugrand, she's now actually the 5th fastest for the day.
Yes.
So the second semi-final comes out and puts the hammer on.
I think you're probably right. That's probably the statement. I'm sitting there thinking, why is he attacking it like this?
He wants to be the fastest.
He needs to be the fastest for the day. He wants to pick that position on where he's going to start. He'll be interested to know where everyone else is around him. That time trial tomorrow is is the course, or this bike course that you're seeing right now. They have to do it individually, which is exactly what he's doing right now, without any people in front of him. That sets up for the pursuit. But the advantage of being the fastest time means you get to select where you get to start your time trial, in the sense that what riders are in front of you or behind you.
And how much rest you're going to have, because we go straight into a sprint enduro after that with a pursuit start based on times from the time trial. So maybe you just get a little bit more time to recover, and maybe that's what makes it count at the back end of this one. And Vincent Lewis, he just does not like not being at the top of the timesheets. And that's what happened after semi-final A 3 weeks ago, and this time he's going to put a marker down and make the rest of the field in semi-final B chase that. There's our second group of 3 led by Gustav Eden, with Aaron Royal and Leo Bergier in it, and there is Hayden Wild leading Vasco Velasa and Tyler Mislachuk up the hill. They need to work together to stay away from that second group of 3 if they want to make sure they take automatic qualifying spots. And that second group of 3 know that only one of them will qualify automatically if they can't catch that group. As down the hill comes Vincent Lewis, the sun now shining again here in Malta. And just looks like he's closed the roads for his own ride.
He just never looks under pressure. I've often spoken to him after races. Was that tough? He's like, oh, that was really hard. I'm like, you never show it. It just looks so easy. Whether that's the poker face he plays to put his competitors off, but he just does everything so comfortably and so in control. It's poetry to watch.
Certainly is, as they head down the bottom of the course, and he's only just made that. We'll have to wait and see. But that dismount line comes up on you really, really quick. So he'll know he may have made an error there, Vincent Lewis, and he's going to need to run this one out. We'll get confirmation as soon as possible from our race director. There he is.
Hayden Wild next in, always quick in transition. And Velasa needs a big transition here. I think Tyler Mislachuk, of these 4 that have gone, was the softest in the first run, whether that was a tactical thing.
No, he's lost them. He's lost them. He's gone. He's too slow there. He didn't get his bike in right.
Gustav Eden, I'd hate him to be chasing me down. Leo Bergier, a big runner, and Aaron Royal in our red jersey. Technically our fastest runner from Jersey.
He just didn't quite get the bike in properly, and then had a little bit of trouble. And Gustav Eden, there's people walking onto the course there. Unfortunate. But when you need to deliver a pizza, you need to deliver it. He's not getting any warmer.
Michael Dills is probably hungry.
He's the boss. If he wants a pizza, he gets it. And speaking of the boss, Vincent Lewis goes up the hill for the second last time. Keep an eye on that clock. We'll see if anyone in semi-final B can best it. Wild has a look up the hill.
Velasquez will chase
sticking.
Wild. He'll stick with Wild. He knows that Wild will be his ticket to stay in that top 5. Just let him pace. They're only going to get up this hill once. The other hill to finish it. It was a good. It looked like there was 5 there, so I'm keen to see if that was someone was
Eden is pressing up on Mislachuk. Yep, no doubt. Hauser. It's a matter of time for Matt Hauser. Needs to post a good one and hope that semi-final B is slower, but we've never had a semi-final B that's slower than semi-final A. B is always faster, men and women. So Hauser will be hoping that he can scrape into the final.
He's looking tired, Matt.
Yeah.
He looks not as comfortable as we've seen him look in the past. He never looks tired, this gentleman on screen. He's in control now. He knows the short shoot's his. I think he's quite aware and happy with the pace he set. Hayden Wild still in pursuit though. Gustav Eden up onto Tyler Mislachuk, but there's your 5.
Well, Hayden Wild, he might have seen Vincent Lewis disappear in the distance, but he got caught in that accident, and not enough can be said about the effort he's had to make to get back to second position. He will be a threat tomorrow. Do not count out Vasco Velasquez either for a podium position, if not better.
Leo Bergier has to keep his tempo going because he's in 6th position. Times are going to matter unless he can close in on Eden and Mislachuk, who may struggle on this downhill or the next uphill to the finish. He's got to wait around until semi-final B is finished to see his future in Malta, in the Malta round.
So Wild's just put a little bit on Vasco Velasquez, who's digging deep to hold off Mislachuk and Eden. So Eden has progressed into our top 5.
What a big range, eh? The Ironman 70.3 world champion. A race that goes just under 4 hours in distance, now a race that's going to be 30 minutes and just over 30 minutes in distance. A completely different energy system required to be successful at that, and to be right at the pointy end with the world's best is testament to Gustav Eden's talent.
So last time up the hill for Vincent Lewis, Wild ahead of Velasquez, Mislachuk and Eden. They are your 5, and they're all within 20 seconds of our leader. World champions, World Cup winners, test event winners, a junior European champion, and the Maltese Falcon, and they're all chasing Vincent Lewis, who will come up in and you think about a 32. He looks back and he sees plenty of space, so he won't need to employ that famous last couple of 100 metres kick this time around.
He'll be able to relax this uphill, which is probably very, very smart because it's the uphill that's going to pinch the legs for tomorrow. He can take it easy, shut it down. They're in. Velasquez, a fantastic race.
Really, really good race.
A big step up from being eliminated in Jersey in the semi-final to saying he's a lot better than what he is, to coming out and proving it. Big race.
Race 1.
They've never been able to catch him, and this will just be another day that they fail to do so. A little bit of a victory lap at the end there for Vincent Lewis. High fives all the way up the hill. The crowd really turning out here on semi-final day, and they're doing it to watch Vincent Lewis continue on his winning ways here in Malta. Takes the short shoot and the tape in semi-final A. Hayden Wild recovers from getting caught in the accident and getting 7 stitches to the face to finish ahead of Mislachuk. Velasquez, who's given everything, and Gustav Eden. Leo Bergier will come across the line in what looks like a 32-33 for 6th position. Royal will finish 7 seconds back in the 32-40. They are unconfirmed times as I just read them off the screen. We'll get them confirmed as we go along. But Velasquez, as you said, you saw him. He said he was better than what he'd shown, and he's certainly shown that his best is enough to match it.
Verbatim what he said to me. He apologised and said, I'm sorry, I'm a lot better than that. And he has just shown that. He was not only just hanging in there qualifying, he was dictating terms, which was impressive for a 20-year-old.
Looks like Mislachuk's sick there. He's either sick or he's lost his contact lenses. and he looks like he's being quite ill. So he's being attended to by Vincent Lewis and Vasco Valasa.
He's had a solo day.
And Matt Hauser, you heard it from the MC on course, he has had a solo day. He comes across in a 33.28.
Fast enough.
So that's 48 seconds back on Royal.
In terms of the best of the rest.
So it's good to see Mislichuk is back on his feet.
Keeping his eye on the clock. He's
Make sure the French flag is flying for Vince Lewis.
In just over 25 minutes time.
And everyone else looks buckled, and Vince looks like he does at the start of the race. So he started on the far side there in the pink, swam across the front of the field as he likes to do, and he went with Nicolo Strada, the Italian junior who already raced this morning, earned his way into the semi-final field, and had a very big first 300 metres and first lap on the bike. He'd fade eventually, but he was right there at the beginning, and he enjoyed it as well. He came first out of transition. There he was having fun with it, and had a great opening bike. But eventually he was caught by the pack, and the pack was led from go to woe by Vincent Lewis, Mislichuk, and there's the crash from Henselet, who was caught up, ran into the back of Ollie Turner. Hayden Wild caught up in the mess as well. He'd come back to finish second, but at the front, Mislichuk was shadowing Vincent Lewis. They came out onto the opening run. There were some really quick transitions, and Valasa and Mislichuk were right there. Valasa took his turn behind Lewis, and then Hayden Wild did as well. And as they came back into the water for the second time, that's when the world champ really put his stamp on this one and broke away from Wild.
Yeah, Hayden Wild was always going to struggle with Vincent Lewis pushing that second swim. Vincent knew that, probably wanted to get the gap to shut Hayden out in the pursuit of that short shoot. Opened up in that swim, was never challenged on the bike. Was able to run his lines very, very comfortably through the bike course. That group of three formed behind with Hayden Wild leading it, and then the group of three behind that with Gustav Eden. That was the race we're looking at to secure that top five. Eden's group needed to close. They weren't able to.
Really good to see Gustav Eden with a good showing and to make it into the top five. But at the front, it was Vince Lewis's day. It's almost always Vince Lewis's day. When he is racing in the pink jersey, he just keeps finding a way to see off the competition. And Wild, Mislichuk and Valasa, followed by Eden, were your top five. Eden with a very good run there to cover the gap at the end. He was too quick for Leo Berger. The second Frenchman, who'll face a nervous wait, posted a 32.33. Right now, we'll head down to Jo Ankia. She has found our winner, Vincent Lewis.
I have indeed. Vince, you looked so relaxed, in control out there. Were you trying to make a statement ahead of Group 2?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult race on Saturday. You have to score some points, like mentally, against the other racers, and you also have to manage yourself for the Sunday. And I just want to make everyone work today, so I wanted Hayden to work a bit to get the short shoot, and luckily I was a bit stronger today. I had a bad crash yesterday, so I feel a bit guilty. I mean, beside him, racing him like this and trying to make him suffer a bit more, but that's the game, and I hope he will be 100% for tomorrow and we'll have a good race. We're just waiting for the second hit now, and I hope that will be a fast race too. I try to make mine fastest for the guys behind. I got my buddy Aaron Roy racing in our hit, and I hope he will be with me tomorrow for the final.
Now tomorrow, the format is a bike time trial and then a pursuit. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel great actually. I feel good in the bike here in this race. It's a bit technical. I mean, we saw some crashes today, and the main goal tomorrow morning for the time trial will be to stay on the bike and to stay in control and be able to put a good swim bike run 10 minutes after, and that's what will count. I mean, we'll see who crossed the line first, and that's only what matters. We don't really care about the time trial. That's just an appetizer.
And of course, it could put you racing out in front on your own. How tough is it out there on those hills alone?
Yeah, I kind of like it. You set your own pace. You know, I'm a big guy. I'm like 10 or 15 kilograms more than some guys in the field, so I have to pace myself on the hill, but luckily there is a downhill after, and that's more my advantage.
Well, you look like you're in the form of your life. We are all looking forward to seeing you race tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
We will see him tomorrow, and we'll likely see him right towards the pointy end. He said he wanted to lay down a marker to the rest of the field mentally, and a 32.12 will do that. Hayden Wild, 8 seconds back, another couple of seconds to Mislichuk, and then to Valasa. Gustav Eden rounded it out with Berger, Royal, and then Hauser, the ones who are going to be having a nervous wait for the next hour or so. We'll head back down to Joe right now, and Hayden Wild's just had his stitches cleaned in his face. We thought he would let him do that first, and now he's with Joe.
Well, Hayden, it's been a bit of a bumpy week for you. First of all, the race crash. What happened? That looks so frustrating for you.
Yeah, it was a bit frustrating. I was happy with the swim. I was in the group, and the legs felt real good coming into it. And unfortunately, the young German lad that got qualification to Germany came down, and there was a crash of 3. Luckily, I didn't come down, but I had to unclip out of my bike and go over his bike, and it was a bit of a disaster. So I had to go as hard as I could for one lap and put myself a little bit into the red zone, and I was a little uncomfortable on the run, but I still had good legs. So when I got into Vincent, I just kind of relaxed and just stayed there, and from there, when I dived in, I was like, I'll just try and stay with him, but then I was like, oh, there's really no point. So I just started to go. I just kind of went into cruise mode and waited for the boys behind me, or else I would have been in no man's land anyway. And then, we worked together quite well on the bike, and I knew we were quite safe. So, yeah, for me, I just wanted to survive today and get through tomorrow, and look after all the injuries and get ready for Sunday.
Survival seems to be the word of the week for you. I know you had another crash this week, and of course ended up in these stitches. How are they? Did they sting? How's the body?
No, the most painful thing was my arm, actually my forearm, not my shoulder or anything. It's quite uncomfortable, but I didn't feel my stitches or anything, so we were happy with that. And I had a real good start actually, so I was really happy with that. Didn't get my face hit on the start, so it's equalizer tomorrow, so I know the swim will be spread out a little bit, and that means I know my face will be safe. So I'm ready for tomorrow.
And to come through these kind of accidents and still race the way you did, it was so impressive. That must give you confidence for tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. At the end of the day, I know when people go down, they lose a lot of confidence on the bike, but I just had to tell myself mentally, you're a good cyclist, don't worry about it. And I was just hitting those corners as hard as I normally would. And around the 4th lap, I felt more comfortable as where I was. And I think I'm happy and ready for tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks so much.
Well, Hayden Wild, he just keeps on taking the hits and keeps on coming back. There are the other 3 of your qualifiers, and there's plenty of quality amongst them, Macca.
Oh, without question, world champions, the Tokyo Test event winners, favourites for the games. The takeaway from me with Hayden Wild is just his confidence as an athlete now. He's really come of age in the Super League racing, and he really feels he's a player. I think last year he was ecstatic to be taking out scalps. Now I think the difference is this year he thinks he can win this series, and he talks that way. He's tactical. Him and Vincent Lewis seem to be the only athletes that I hear when you hear them speak or you talk to them in the days before that are tactically thinking about how they can win this race. A lot of other people are keying off how those 2 athletes will race the race.
All right, we'll see them both tomorrow. He did the Falcon Arms across the line, didn't quite have the same jubilation as he did in the semi-final last time around. Now, Hayden and amongst a whole bunch of other athletes have been here for the week. They've certainly enjoyed the whole thing, and they're enjoying this one as well. The pink jersey and the green jersey both cop bait into the final. Vasco Velasa does as well, does Tyler Mislachuk and Gustav Eden. So congratulations to all of them. He'll go off and get patched up. As I said, though, they've all been here for a little while during the week, and we like to give back here at Super League Triathlon and make sure that the athletes enjoy their time, and they also get to meet and greet as many people as they possibly can. And that includes making visits to schools, which is a highlight of a lot of their weeks, and they certainly enjoyed that a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, we're visiting a local primary school. You can see the kids are running around. There's so much energy here. The kids have just a ton of it to burn off, and we try and feed off of that.
It's something marvelous when you see the kids loving this activity, the kids who make direct questions to the athletes and ask them about their professional life, what got them into sports.
So I did my first kids triathlon when I was right about 8 years old. And I got into the sport because my dad was doing them. And since then, I've been doing them every single year and more each and every year.
When one reads about great athletes, it's one thing. When one meets them, it's totally another different thing, The fact that you are not just seeing or reading a paper, but the fact that you are talking directly to the athlete who has experience, who has found difficulties in life.
Important to start them young, get them active, and really just encourage that and make a connection with the community that we're racing in and show them that it's fun to be active and, it's fun to do a sport like triathlon. I remember I have fond memories of growing up as a kid, just being active, racing triathlons, doing other sports. So to try and pass that on to someone else is a big goal and always good to see. My message to these kids would be to just have fun in whatever activity you're doing, racing, anything like that. That's a major key to success.
Has been, there is no doubt about that. It's a fantastic semi-final, Macca? Now we look forward to another 15 world-class athletes doing battle once again. But the athletes that we have seen that have gone through, they really pushed themselves in that one. We didn't necessarily see that in the women's racing because the field wasn't quite as deep.
Oh, that race, that semi-final was amazing, set up by Vincent Lewis, who was committed to having such a big, aggressive race to distance himself from Hayden Wild. When we did the slot draw and the selection of those semi-finals, there was a lot of discussion around which semi-final was the quickest one. This next semi-final is definitely considered the swimmer semi-final, stacked with swimming strength. What we've seen on this course is that swimming, those big groups that get away on that bike ride, keep that pace on and could set up a fast time.
Now, we saw the school visit just before, which is a fantastic part of the week, and we had 600 school kids turn out for this one. But there are some very special names that we've noticed here in Malta. We met Jake Vella last year, if you remember that, and he has a very rare condition that he has to work on every single day to just simply stay alive. And he always just wanted to meet Ali and Johnny Brownlee, and he got that chance, and we're seeing that right now. How good was that?
That was amazing. I know. I knew the story of Jake for quite some time. I had a lot of friends here on the island of Malta, and they'd been trying to get the Brownleys here for many, many years. And for Jake to meet his heroes was remarkably a part of. And as one of the founders of Super League and all the people that bring this stuff together, it was one of the touching moments for me of the entire series to see that happen.
All right, I'll leave you right here. If you want to come with me, follow me along. We're going to go into what this is called the athlete recovery area. So they run in off the back of the finishing line. They come into this area, and there's plenty of things to eat and drink and make sure that they're okay. So I'm just going to go under this tent right here and see if I can find Vasco Velasco. Vasco, we're live on television right now, mate. I'm sorry that you're shirtless, but you'll just have to deal with that. Vasco, you said to Macca, and we said in commentary, that after Jersey, you were better than that. You could show better than that, and you certainly did that today. How do you feel?
I'm feeling great right now. I kind of surprised myself. I was talking with Macca, and I told him, and we were talking about I was invited to come here, and I know I can do better. I know I can do much better. So I just been working really hard to catch up with that 1 second that I didn't qualify from, and I guess I catch up with much more than just 1 second. Just feeling great today. We got excited running behind Lewis, a bit tired on the second triathlon, but just great to be qualified in the first 5 guys.
You've got an incredible resume yourself. You've already done so much, and you're only 20 years of age, but you look around and you've got the guy who won the Tokyo Test event back there. You've got the world champion over here. You've got Hayden Wild. We know how good he is. At one point, you just think, look at these guys that are surrounding me. I'm matching it with them.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I look at them, I want to go with them. Of course, no, I have never been able to do it. It was the first time today, so excited. But just by the way, I'm 19 still, so...
Oh, 19, sorry.
Still 19.
Sorry, you had hair on your chest. I thought you must be 20 by now.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
It's still growing.
Yeah, keep working on that.
Thank
All
you
right,
much.
sorry, 20-year-olds want to tell me that they're 19. Come over, could we go a little bit further, and I'll just talk to Tyler Mislachuk. Tyler, you looked a little bit ill at the end of that one, mate. Are you okay?
Yeah, a little bit of Red Bull and salt water mix in the best combo, especially just kind of like on a night out. Hey, margaritas, not so good for the stomach.
I don't know, you telling me that. I don't go out anymore, mate. I've got 2 daughters. But you did the job. Obviously, you got eliminated semi-final last time, so you wanted the showing, and you gave us that. I got to bring that up, but that's only after you've already, been right in the mix on the top 5 this time around.
Yeah, it felt a lot better today. Not 100% actually, so maybe it's a good wake up for tomorrow, but this Super League is so much fun. I mean, it kind of felt like a bit of a slog talking to other athletes. It's just a completely different course, different race, and it's crazy because Super League, I mean, every weekend you see different guys up there. I mean, obviously the class is always at the top, but it's nice to mix it up.
And, we're on air to all around the world, 1.1 billion households. Do you think it's a good idea to have a moustache like that?
My mom was extremely angry, same with my grandmother. Girlfriend likes it though, so that's all that matters.
That's all that matters indeed. We're going to go down right now to Joe and Graham Atchison as we continue the build up to men's semi-final B.
Okay, well, I have got Graham with me. Now, that race, it must throw statistics out of the water when there's a crash like that, no?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends who's involved in it. We had a crash in Jersey, and those girls actually, they obviously didn't do well out of it. But here, most of the guys actually made it through, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay, any outperformers?
Yeah, well, Vasco and Tyler both automatically qualified. I especially didn't have the Portuguese athlete Vasco to come so high as he did. He performed fantastically. He had a big smile on his face the whole way around. It was great to watch.
Okay, let's look ahead to semi-final B. Some strong swimmers in this race. Who do you think might do well?
Well, I think Aidan Longcroft Harris, he's always first out the water in Jersey. His swim times are phenomenal. If he doesn't lead out here, it'd be a big surprise. But we've got Skuman as well as Lacore, who did fantastically well in Jersey. And then you've also got Richard Murray, who's coming back as well. He's a strong cyclist. So we'll see. I think Skuman should win. It'll be interesting to see who comes second.
Anyone that you think might be able to go as fast as Vincent did?
Well, Skuman's obviously the best shout, but Vincent looked so comfortable there that I think, if anybody... Well, actually, semi-final B has always been faster, so maybe Skuman might do it. We'll see.
They do have each other to race. Thank you so much, Graham.
Some really, really good insight there from Graham Atchison as we head into semi-final B. Let's get a quick tip from you for semi-final B. I know you were good on our Facebook Live show, the Power Up show. We'll have another one tomorrow morning at 9:30, so check out that. But you like the Norwegians. We've seen Gustav Iden get into the top 5. What do you think about Christian Blumenfeld in this one?
I like Christian Blumenfeld as an athlete, full stop. I think he really suits Super League racing. I think he'll love this course. The downhill will suit his ability to run downhill very, very quick. He has the right attitude to be successful in that. We've seen him many years ago, or 2 years ago, very successful Super League racing. He had a bit of a hiatus. I think it's his comeback race this weekend.
I hope so. He loves the pain. He loves the hills, Christian Blumenfeld. Him and Gustav Iden have been so strong across the course of the last couple of years, and they lead a Norwegian charge, and they know each other very, very well. Almost too well, some would say. I caught up with a pair of them earlier in the week.
I think he might have been surprised that he was in front of you.
Gentlemen, welcome to Malta. First time here for both of you. What do you think of the island so far?
It's really nice to be here. I watched the race last year and it just looked really, really good. So then I just decided I had to do the whole series and come here and get the experience.
Gustav, Jersey threw a bit of everything at us. The conditions were very Norwegian, but your first SLC experience, what did you learn to bring into Malta? Because I know you've aimed at this round as being where you'll really contend.
Yeah, for Jersey, I took Jersey as more for learning because I knew I couldn't really compete with the top level guys who've done this many times before. So what I took with me from Jersey is fast from the gun. It's really, really fast. And I haven't been training specifically for this time, but I'm at least really mentally prepared that it's going to be really, really fast, even though my body is not ready yet to compete at the top level, I think.
The Norwegian team, there seems to be a bit of mystique about the Norwegian training methods and what you guys are doing up there in that weird Scandinavian area. Is that fair? Do you think the way that Norway does things is a little bit different? Or not? Or is that just something you guys have been...
It is a bit different, but we post every training session we do on Strava, so I don't think it's a mystery what we're doing.
I think it's all about the control, that you're able to control the intensity and also the training load. So we do a lot of volume, but for example, many of the track sessions we do isn't really all out, but it's maybe double the distance to what many of the other guys does, but it's almost at the same pace.
Am I right in saying that you did at one point a 27-mile uphill run?
Okay.
27 Ks?
Yeah, not miles. That was in Sierra Nevada.
Still, 27 Ks up, that would take me
intervals.
2 months to get over.
That was intervals too.
Yeah.
Intervals?
Yeah, and it was 1,500 meters climbing. So in altitude meters.
Yes, and look at the smile on your face while you're talking about this.
One of the sessions we do is then we drive down and we start warming up as we're running maybe 20 minutes uphill. And then we start 6 by 10 minutes at the threshold, best average. And then
everyone's watching this is just vomiting a little in their mouth, and you're just smiling.
Yeah, but just I think a few weeks ago they even had a marathon downhill from Sierra Nevada.
Yeah,
and that has to be much more painful.
I think it's worse to run down the hill than up the hill.
Well, we're going to see this weekend because it's either uphill or downhill. Yeah. The downhill is where it was won and lost last year, so you've got to you've got to punch it downhill.
I think the downhill should be fine for me. It's all about...
You say it now, we will see. Yeah, on the run.
All right, before we wrap it up, because it's hard for you guys. Normally I can look at people's Instagram and I can see what what they get up to outside of there's nothing outside of triathlon that you don't exist. I think you might sleep for about 4 hours a night and that's it. So everything else is like training, recovering from training, racing, training. So I'm going to ask Gustav, what's something about Christian that we don't know? Is there anything that you can give some insight?
I don't know actually what he does without triathlon, so I have
Nothing.
no
I have
idea.
no life outside of the sport.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
really,
kind of-
really hard to say what he does outside of triathlon.
It's so hard when people ask you to put in like 3 things. For example, what's your interest?
Yeah.
And it's like you can't really say swim, bike, run. so then okay, sports, eating.
Eating is the hobby.
And Netflix, you know, it's kind of.
Yeah.
You really need to get out a bit more, buddy.
Great insight into the Norwegian state of mind. They're enjoying their racing. They absolutely love their racing. And another man who's loving being back on the start pontoon is Richard Murray. He's been sick since the Tokyo Test event, but he's better now. He's ready to go. He's a race winner here, and he's down with Joe.
Hi, Richard. Well, of course, we missed you in Jersey. You've had a little time off. How does it feel to be back?
Yeah, I missed you guys too. It's good to be back. Yeah, I had a couple of stomach problems for a month or so, so I had to sit out Jersey. But yeah, very happy to be back in Malta.
And on the home turf that you won on last year, this course, a lot of people find it very hilly, seems to play to your strengths.
Yeah, you know, I think I enjoy a very hard bike and a hilly bike as well. I've got about 2.5 weeks of training under the belt, so you know, I'm not expecting a hell of a lot this weekend. But yeah, I'm looking forward to having some good fun and trying to do the best that I can over these 2 days.
And I noticed you've chosen to start next to Henry Schoeman. Why is that?
Well, he's a good swimmer, number one, and on the left of him is also a very good swimmer as well. So, yeah, it's quite good, but they said it was a little bit more equal towards number 10, but it looks like the right-hand side's got the benefit here. But yeah, hopefully I can jump onto their feet to the first buoy. I think that'll be awesome.
Okay, and your girlfriend Rachel did very well. Hopefully that set the precedent as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, she's definitely keeping the standards very high, and she obviously keeps going, and I mean, that's amazing, and I'm very happy for her, and it's, yeah, we'll see how she does tomorrow as well.
Okay, we'll let you get ready to race. Good luck.
Cool, thanks, cheers guys.
Thanks, Richard, for taking the time. Thanks, Joe, as well. We cannot wait to get this final semi-final for the afternoon underway. And here is Group B, and it is a swimmers group. Pierre Lecour finished second in Jersey. Ben Canute, always very strong and great on the bike, as is Martin Van Riel. Christian Blumenfeld, we just heard from. Jonas Schomburg, Michael Arashida of the US, Aurelian Raphael, our quickest swimmer from Jersey. Roberto Sanchez-Mantegon, the under-23 world champion. Aidan Longcroft-Harris holds the blue jersey for the quicker swims overall. Chris Perham, Stongo Lehman, Richard Murray, Henry Schoeman, Anthony Poujard, and our junior qualifier, Alessio Crocchiani, who is again the Italian. But we'll head back down now to Joe with Henry Schoeman, who was our blue jersey winner all the way through. He missed out in Jersey as well, and he is warming up right now.
Now, Henry, of course, you weren't able to compete in Jersey. You must be raring to get back in that water. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I think it's going to be really tactical for me. Maybe don't have the same fitness as the guys. They're really fit, but yeah, I'm going to try and use my strengths where I can and capitalize on them.
And of course, you have often had the blue jersey. How important will this start be?
Yeah, it's going to be quite important. The start is really short. It's like 50 meters out to the first buoy, so yeah, got to get out fast and get out there.
And I'm being told that you have a little surprise for us under your hat. I won't make you take your hat off now, but is it going to help you go faster? What's that about?
Maybe it will keep your eyes on me.
Okay, and it's a wedding surprise, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
A wedding haircut. Well, we wait till the run and the bike to see that one. Good luck.
Thank you.
Came up to me at dinner last night and said, you have to call me the white shark from now on because of the white hair and I'm a good swimmer. So his hair is very bright and Henry Schoeman is ready to go. It's very odd to see him not in blue, in fact.
The great white shark. So he eats people alive.
He eats people alive, indeed. In the blue is Aidan Longcroft-Harris, who was a qualifier, came through with some fantastic swims, the Canadian, and he is in the blue jersey. Vincent Lewis, we know, is in the pink. We just saw that. Aaron Royal and Hayden Wild are in the red and green. They've already been out there, but Aidan Longcroft-Harris and Christian Blumenfeld will be your coloured jerseys. Christian takes the grey by virtue of being the fastest in transition in Jersey. The youngest athlete in the field will be in the white, everyone else will be in the yellow, and there is plenty of quality throughout. It is almost impossible to pick a winner out of this group. There is quality all the way through. New guys like Chongol Lehmann from Hungary and Roberto Sanchez Manzacon could really be wild cards in this one and mix up the order.
Chongol Lehmann, a big swimmer as well. And it'll be interesting to see if Aidan Longcross-Harris, who's in blue, he needs to lead this swim out to keep those points consistent, to hold that blue jersey with a lot on the line.
Well, he needs to lead the swim out just to stay in touch, really, with a group of this quality. He was 12th overall in round one. He only snuck into the final because Simon Henselite decided not to take his spot. So he knows that he needs to be around on Sunday to hold on to the blue jersey, to take those points, but also just to make it through to the final anyway. He's 21 years old, one of the youngest that has raw speed. He doesn't have the resume of some of the other guys out there, but that didn't stop him in Jersey. So we have 15 of the very best in the world down on the pontoon, right in the shadow of that big boat that Mac has been living on for the last week and a half.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, sorry, my apologies.
The thing about this 15 here is you've probably got your top 8 best swimmers in the world in this heat. Taking up Vincent Lewis out of the mix. The amount of swim power that's going to come off this pontoon right now is ludicrous. You're not going to see anything better in triathlon anywhere in the world.
Yeah, half a dozen or more of the best swimmers in triathlon, all on the pontoon, all in Malta, and all fighting it out for 5 spots in tomorrow's final. Such is the depth of quality in both of our men's semi-finals. There's Richard Murray looking across at his rivals. They're made to wait on the pontoon for a little while, and we're going to get this one underway. Swim, bike, run. The 90-second rule in full effect. Fall foul of that. 90 seconds back from the leaders. Your day is done. The top 5 go through to tomorrow's final, and the next 5 combined fastest times from the 2 semi-finals will go through. Leo Bergier in 6th in semi-final A with a 32.33. Anthony Poujard closest to your screen there. Another one of the high-quality athletes, just on the outside of Alessio Crocchiani from Italy, junior.
Pierre Lecour on the furthest from screen.
Clean start. Some people a little slow off the blocks, though. And that included Aidan Longcroft-Harris, who is churning up the water in the middle, but he's going to find himself behind, I think, Skuman. Who is that got a good start out?
Orion Raphael, it could be.
Raphael, I think number 12.
Who was the quickest off the blocks out in Jersey, was able to qualify. He went backwards from there. Aidan Longcroft-Harris, without him in the final, was able to get that gapped water. He's got Orion Raphael's feet.
Looks Lecour closest to screen, but there is Aurelien Raphael. Part of the big French contingent here.
You can see the ease he gets around that first swim buoy and the congestion now where they get caught up. And Raphael, who's moving quickly, doesn't have that congestion and is able to get 1 or 2 extra body lengths as they come off the swim buoy. That's why the explosiveness off the blocks is so important. We saw it in the women's semi-finals. We saw it in the first semi-final with Vincent Lewis, and you're seeing it again now. And that congestion with so many good swimmers makes it very, very tough.
Arashida here closest to screen alongside a young athlete.
Blumenfeld in the grey.
32 that's Blumenfeld actually in the grey. You're right, the grey and the white look very similar. But to give you an idea of just how quick Aurelien Raphael is, he finished 12th overall in Jersey, but his best swim was 3:06 in Jersey, and the average swim of these quality athletes was 3:29. He's 31 years of age, which is not really the age to be making your debut in Super League Triathlon. I'd say it's about 10 years earlier than that. But he is showing, after 13 years as a pro triathlete, that he still very much has the swim to do the job. Part of that Poissy Tri team from the French Grand Prix. The French are so good at this style of racing because they get brought up on it.
They were built around this style of racing, and the French have always been such magnificent, powerful swimmers. Whatever they're doing there as part of that French high-performance program, they've been doing very, very successfully for 2 decades. And Aurelien Raphael, I recall coming onto the circuit and seeing him do such huge damage in the Brownlee days in the swim, and bringing this whole contingent, Pierre Lecour, Vincent Lewis, along with him. It's been remarkable to watch.
Aidan Longcroft-Harris there, he's moving up into 3rd position. He got caught really badly on the first buoy and pushed back down the field, and he's had to work hard the number 18 there in the blue to push himself back up.
Henry Schumann on the far side. We're used to seeing him in the blue 8 and Longcroft Harris moving up on Anthony Pujadas, who's the second French sitting on Orion Raphael's feet. But that's testament to how quick the swims is now, because last year we were seeing Henry Schumann just really dictating and controlling these swims with Vincent Lewis. Now there's a lot more athletes around them showing the swim power that's come aboard with these younger athletes coming aboard.
To illustrate that, Henry Schumann has never finished below 4th in a swim, and that is in a final. We didn't have semi-finals last year.
Yeah.
He never finished below 4th. He's now in a semi-final with half the field, and he's going to come out of the water in 5th.
Pierre Lecour beating him out in 5th. You've got Martin
Van Riel there too. But that really gives you an idea. He's got half the field in front of him. He's finished 5th in a swim. So by his own admission, he doesn't have the fitness that he has had before. Aurelian Raphael, the first out of transition. Pierre Lecour closest to us, but out of transition, he comes out along another side, another Frenchman, Anthony Poujard, and then a whole glut of athletes with Lehman there. And Richard Murray, who stays in touch. He's not a renowned swimmer. Poujard, Lecour, Longcroft Harris, Van Riel, Canute, Schumann, Lehman, Schomburg.
Murray, there's Sanchez.
There's Mantacon. And there is Christian Blumenfeld, who'll need to do what he does best and plough his way through the field with that bike power up this hill.
He's got some work to do, Christian Blumenfeld.
Murray down in 12th, Arashida 13th, Blumenfeld in 14th, and Sanchez Mantacon, the under-23 world champion, in last position. There is the two Frenchmen. Getting sick of the French at the front. Beaugrand win it. Lewis wins it, and at the front now, Poujard and Raphael.
Ben Canute and Pierre Lecour, so 3 of the top 4 are French, with only Ben Canute disrupting that party. Ben Canute loves this course. He just loves to get on the front.
Here's Mantacon. He's moved up dramatically. 5 spots on that hill.
Purnham just back off him. Richard Murray, far out. What just the tactical, the skillful brilliance of Richard Murray on a bike. He did all that moving up, just and his ability to get around that bottom corner on the roundabout. He slid up the inside. He followed Martin Van Riel on the outside. It was very, very tight. Positioned a few guys. I think he's now sitting in 6th position, 7th position in front of Henry Schumann, who was 3 or 4 position or 5 positions in front of him out of the water.
I think we're going to see this one be a very, very different race to what we saw in the domination of Vincent Lewis in semi-final A. Poujard, Canute, Raphael, Lecour and Van Riel are your top 5. Van Riel, a renowned biker. Look for him to continue to press his advantage. He's sitting right in behind Lecour. Murray's moved up into, I think, 6th position now. Longcroft Harris there as well. Schumann, Sanchez Mantacon.
This is where Christian Blumenfeld, he tends to overgear. He rides a very big gear, Christian Blumenfeld, because he's a much bigger athlete, but he's struggling to get that cadence up to close those accelerations. And if he's going to make a move, it needs to be on this bottom section, because as he comes off this turn, he gives himself a few bike lengths, because he just grinds up this hill. So it's only if they sit up that he seems to close the gaps. Otherwise, the distances grow and grow and grow. And the French pedal very, very well, as does Martin Van Riel sitting back there in 4th position, 3rd position behind Ben Canute.
Canute's one of those athletes that is always in the top 5 or 6, but he's not a race winner in Super League as yet. He might look at this and think this could be his day, Ben Canute.
He had a fantastic event in Jersey. He's really, really enjoying this style of racing. His mindset and his aggressive racing suits it. He's not an opportunistic racer. He's I guess an offensive racer. He's always taking the race up the road, and that suits this with potential crashes happening behind, with people getting caught as athletes are going back and forwards. He's always in that position where he's at the pointing end, despite on paper not technically being the fastest runner or the fastest biker or the fastest swimmer.
Very gutsy as Mantacon, or Sanchez takes an inside line on Longcroft Harris and takes him for position number 7. Out the front, Poujard, Canute, Van Riel, Lecour, Murray. They are your top 5 as it stands at the moment, as they head into transition for the first time.
Orion Raphael slowly sliding backwards after his big swim, as is the young Hungarian junior who's second in the under-23 Junior Worlds in Lehman. Big swimmer. He's also a big runner, but he's struggling on this circuit. He was a lot closer to the front half of the swim. I saw him climbing up that hill. He was bullied out, I guess, by Ben Canute, pushed aside. He sort of let those gaps open. He drifted back, and once you start drifting back in a pack, it's very, very hard to make forward progression, because people see you as the weakest link and will quickly move around you.
So Van Riel moving up into third position, and he's right behind Ben Canute alongside Pierre Lecour and Richard Murray. He's tacked himself onto the back of this group.
It's a good little group.
Be hard to break into that group as it is. Two Frenchmen, South African in there, an American leading them.
There's Christian
Belgian.
Blumenfeld, just on the back of that group.
Blumenfeld came out of the water in about 12th position and now is in 7th position behind Schoeman, who's tucked in behind his countryman Richard Murray. The two South Africans having missed Jersey for different reasons and arrive here needing to make a good result, because across the course of our championship season, points accumulated early are key if you're going to be in the race for that $100,000 prize at season's end, as Jonas Schomburg tacks onto the back of Blumenfeld and Sanchez.
Ben Canute seems to be racing, understanding that first semi-final, he knows the time of that first semi-final. He's got something to chase. He knows that if he keeps the tempo on, there's potential that 10 from this semi-final can go through if it's a lot quicker semi-final. So he's constantly pushing on the front. You saw him as he came off the top of that hill, signalling to the riders behind, come on, take your turn. Martin Van Riel came over the top of him. So they all know what they've got to chase, which is a big advantage of being semi-final number 2. You've just got to do it.
Yeah, you need a time in the mid-32s if you're going to secure yourself a spot if you're not in the top 5. And when you do find yourself in the top 5 or in the next 5 fastest, you're going to arrive tomorrow in a...
There's Christian on the outside.
Yeah, in a final full of people like Christian Blumenfeld, who says hello to Ben Canute and goodbye to Ben Canute.
And on the front for the first time in the Super League race this season, which is great.
Indeed, yes, it is. After a good showing from Gustav Eden, we just saw a great interview of the two of them. Has no life by his own admission outside of triathlon, Christian Blumenfeld. But that doesn't matter because he's very, very good at triathlon, and he's on the front of semi-final B here as the sun begins to get a bit lower in the sky at the top of the hill here on Mount Malta. It's been a beautiful day for racing, and we're going to have another one tomorrow with 2 huge finals, with $20,000 on the line for our 2 winners. And Christian Blumenfeld would have seen what Vincent Lewis has done and thought, I can do that. And off he goes, leading a train of about 10 or 11 athletes with Sanchez on the back. Lehman and then Chris Perham from Great Britain.
Just a little bit too big a gap for Chris. He should have tried to close that down. He lost it on that last climb. But interestingly, Christian Blumenfeld set himself up with the transition jersey, first into transition. If he's ever going to have a quick transition, it's right now.
Blumenfeld puts his bike in front first, misses the opportunity. Van Riel puts his bike in back first. He's the only one of the top 5 to have done that. That might get him a couple of seconds, but it's cost him a couple of seconds now. Canute as well had a bit of a issue with his helmet. So he comes out at the back of the group now and drops a few spots. Does Canute, who was second going in. Sanchez. There is Perham, who has to stop, fix his shoe up, as does Aurelian Raphael. And off they go on the run for the first time. 11 minutes gone in this one. Heart rate's already very, very high. And Michael Arashida is already beginning to do the dance with the 90-second rule. 32 seconds as it stands. So he needs to hold that or better it. And there is our entire field with Blumenfeld in the lead from Poujade and Lecour. 2 Frenchmen chasing the Norwegian with Murray, Van Riel, Canute. Schoeman's there as well in a group with Lehman.
What you know about Christian Blumenfeld is he will not slow up. So if you think he's going to coast through this first run, you know that's not going to happen. He's going to really, really push this first run. He's so used to chasing. So that group behind, if they think this group of 3 in front are going to come back to him, or Christian Blumenfeld's thinking of maybe easing up, it's not going to happen. So if you're Richard Murray right now, you need to start working this hill and trying to close that gap. Pierre Lecour seems to be the first to drop off that pace of Christian Blumenfeld, who's going to love this descent.
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
Lecour in second position and took some really valuable championship points, 14 of them in Jersey, but he was helped very much by the loss of the bike due to the high winds. We had to cancel the bike. He was 21st ranked in the bike on day 1, and cancelling the bike on day 2 really played into his hands, but that's not taking away from his performance, which was absolutely outstanding. To finish second behind Vincent Lewis and to run him to the line is something that pretty much no one, except for Henry Schoeman, has been able to do in the last, well, since the invention of Super League.
Yeah, you watch Blumenfeld go down this downhill. It's like he does not care about his knees.
No, he hates his knees.
He just
Hates it.
opens up.
Hates his body.
Hates his body.
Wants to punish it.
And look at the gap he's opened up on the descent. This is where I thought this course was really going to suit his style of racing. He does struggle a little bit in the swim, but he will love this bike climbs and he'll love this downhill running. And that gap has just opened up all on that descent.
Just throwing caution to the wind with that run. And it really helps him. I think we saw last year sometimes with Henry Schumann was a little bit more circumspect on the downhill. He's a very controlled athlete, and it's delivered him a Commonwealth Games gold medal amongst a Rio Olympic bronze medal too. And there he is, the white shark with the white hair. But if you can just get a little bit out of control, but also continue that momentum downhill, you can really put some miles into the rest of the field. And maybe not miles, maybe meters. Meters is enough. And Christian Blumenfeld has done exactly that as he heads through transition for the first time on the run. As we head to the back end of the first swim bike run, we go into another triathlon after this. And a great showing from Anthony Poujade, who was 10th in round 1, 3rd in semi-final B. Last time out, he's sitting 2nd in semi-final B right now, ahead of Pierre Lecour with Richard Murray and Martin Van Riel.
Martin Van Riel knows he has a big swim here, but he has to stay close to that group. With Richard Murray vulnerable in the swim, I thought Richard would struggle a little bit more than he said he was. He came in saying he was a little bit underdone. The two French up front are magnificent swimmers. Murray is probably the weakest link there, so he needs to make sure he enters that water in front of the two French and Martin Van Riel and make them swim around him to stay close, to secure himself in that top 5.
Last time around on the run, the last place across the line, Arashida, was 32 seconds back. And here he is now, and he's going to be over a minute back. Oh, there you go, a minute on the knocker.
30 seconds in 1 kilometre.
That is incredible, and that pace has been set by this man who knows how to dig as deep as possible into the pain cave and pull out performances back to back to back. He's just coming off the back of his first WTS win.
It's amazing, grand final, WTS, not just win, WTS grand final win.
And then a week later, 4th in the 70.3 Worlds.
And to his own admission, a disappointing 4th in the 70.3 Worlds.
That just shows you how good he is, and there is the rest of your top 5. Poujade, Murray, Van Riel, and Lecour.
Ben Canute and Henry Schumann both know they're big swimmers. The issue they have is that 3 of the 4 guys in front of them are also very, very big swimmers. So the thought of potentially closing gaps in this second swim go out the door when you've got the horsepower of Martin Van Riel.
Look at
Blumenfeld. And he's amazing.
He's just disappeared. He has disappeared.
He would love this semi-final racing because as athletes are thinking of resting up and saving the legs for the final, Christian Blumenfeld does not care. He wants to punish himself every time he puts on a number.
He really does, doesn't he? He doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to do this, but he will go hammer and tongs. Is that an Australian term again? He will go as fast as he can.
Look at that. Just get that on. I want to go.
Get it on me. Here we go.
He's
Christian Blumenfeld. Fastest in transition, that's why he's wearing the grey, and fastest out there in semi-final B, that's why no one's anywhere near him. There come the chasing pack.
There's big swimming horsepower here, and if 3 of these 4, Murray being the weakest link in the water, decide to pursue Christian Blumenfeld, he may find himself isolated. Richard Murray, that being said...
Well,
Richard
it just
Murray,
plays into Blumenfeld's hands.
It really does. And Richard Murray, though, all that being said, is probably one of the best sitter of feet in the world. It's very, very difficult to dislodge him. I think if Ali was here, he'd say that's not the case, but I've seen it with my own eyes, having followed these races for years. He's very good at sitting on hips, at finding feet, and moving his way tactically through these swims to stay as close as possible. It's only when he's isolated with 1 or 2 people that he can be found to be put in trouble.
There he goes. The big engine of Christian Blumenfeld dives into the water. He benefits from a particular set of genetic combinations.
Yes, Murray beating him into the water.
He did.
Knowing how important this swim is for Murray, that's what I mean about a smart racer. Put yourself in front of the 3 better swimmers, make them swim around you.
And then just latch on.
Latch on.
So Christian Blumenfeld knows that he wants the short shoot. The winner of each of our semi-finals takes the short shoot, which is a little shortcut at the top point of the course that may give yourself 5 seconds that you can take on either of the runs, as Jonas Schomburg just rolls into transition. He's not having the greatest day in the world. He's behind the under-23 world champion Sanchez. And out he goes, but he's in 10th position, and when the pace is this hot, well, you can't say that he's not having a good day. He's just not having as good of a day as Christian Blumenfeld and the men behind him. So the short shoot is on offer. As we said, Vincent Lewis took it in semi-final A, semi-final B. Christian Blumenfeld has one hand on it, but Murray, Lacour, Van Riel and Pujard, along with Henry Schoeman, who is a high-quality swimmer, looks like he's going to bridge that gap to that group of 4.
You can see the pace on in that group behind, and Murray, after saying that he's the best at sitting on feet, has gone from 1st to 4th off that first can.
Arashid has avoided elimination. He's going to jump into the water with his shoes on.
He has to.
All right,
to stay
why
in
not?
the race.
To
Why
stay
not?
in the race, he's going to... We said in Jersey, after
someone do that?
people were running barefoot, I said in commentary, one day we're going to see people swim with their shoes on, and it took 3 weeks. So the
there it
doubters...
There it is.
Well, there it is.
I think you're going to see him go backwards at,
He's
an
gonna
accelerated rate. It's not the smartest thing to do. That being said, he wasn't eliminated. So
If he's not eliminated, though, he's giving himself a better chance of making the final. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But he's maximising the chances with what he's got in the tank on this particular day, and that's.
And he also becomes the first person in history, Will, to ever dive in the pool. So he's
done
made
it. He's become a future trivia question, Michael Arashida. So at what point does he regret that? 10 metres into the swim?
I think once he hit the water, the inability to flex your ankles, your inability to kick the water filling up, dragging your feet back, he'd be like,
Wow.
oh, silly move.
They're the new Nikes too, so let's hope one of them doesn't end up in Burgoo Harbour. That has never, ever happened in Super League Triathlon. Someone in the water with their shoes on, but that is what Super League does, forces athletes to innovate.
You can see right now Richard Murray off the back of those 3. They're in pursuit of Christian Blumenfeld, and Murray's the first casualty. It's Henry Schoeman and Anthony Pajadis who are going to close in on Richard Murray.
So the gap has diminished between Blumenfeld and the chasing pack. It was significantly more than that, probably 3 times as much as that. But our chasing pack have worked together.
Martin Van Riel doing all the damage to close it. I think it's Pierre Lacour sitting just on his feet. But as he went in, Christian Blumenfeld will lead out, and that's where he wanted to be. If you remember that first one, he was last out of the group. Now he's going to lead out, which is a position he loves to be in. He's going to be on the front. We know one thing, he's just going to put the hammer down and say, hold on if you want to. If you want to win this, hold on.
I don't think... Well, it'd be hard to bet against him. Van Riel out of the water. Lacour behind him. Then comes Anthony Pujard. Then comes Henry Schoeman, who's moved up.
He's had a great swim.
A little bit here.
Straight past Richard Murray.
And Murray's the man who loses out.
Pierre Lacour. Well, Martin Van Riel with a sloppy transition. He was second out and third out of transition. And a distant third. Pierre Lacour.
Lacour gets out first, ahead of Blumenfeld. He doesn't like that, and he's going to latch straight onto the back. Let's see if Blumenfeld plays a smart game here. Songnor Lehman is hurting a little bit. Chongor is his name. He said, don't worry, just call me Chonga. That's my nickname. And I said, if I do that, people will just think that I got it wrong.
Yeah.
It'll be an Australian thing.
Chonga.
Chongor Lehman and Sanchez, 2 who featured right at the top pointy end of the under-23 world champs. They are right next to each other. And Aidan Longcroft Harris is going to need to hustle if he's going to avoid elimination. But at the front, Christian Blumenfeld has retaken the lead from Lacour.
Pierre Lacour wants that wheel. He had it, he lost it at the bottom of the climb. He's either going to look back and say, I take the 2 behind me, or if I take this wheel in front, I'm guaranteed a position, because it's not a foregone conclusion that these 4 are going to stay away. With Schoeman back there and Ben Canute, he's going to push forward. Richard Murray, magnificent on this bike course. Makes 7 people into 5 again if these gaps close.
Pujard knows the quality of Martin Van Riel on the bike. So those 2 will work together, and the wheel of Christian Blumenfeld is well and truly gone from Pierre Lacour as he comes round the near end of the course for the first time.
Just such a big gear he pushes in and out of those corners. He obviously has the strength to do it. It's wondering whether if he goes in a head-to-head bike race against Vincent Lewis, who's a lot smoother in and out of those corners and rides a lot higher cadence, can accelerate a lot better. Whether those little differences, those margins of error will mount up to be big things that ultimately cost him the race. When it comes to the pursuit of the win, I think he wins that battle down, hands down. It's whether those little things that Vincent Lewis does a little bit better than Christian Blumenfeld, in my opinion, add up to win those events.
Well, the quality of... Here he comes, the man with the shoes on. He's wearing the flippers, Michael Arashida. And he has done something that no man has done before, and he's lost his shoes. No, there it is. There it is, Tom. That is absolutely outstanding work. Congratulations to Michael Arashida. He's the first to be eliminated, but he's done something no man has done before, and he takes his shoes out of the water and gets the round of applause, gets the yellow flag, but it can't be said that he hasn't done everything he possibly could to stay in this race. So well done to him. Eliminated from the men's semi-final B. But we'll never forget it.
That's a powerful group of three. I think that's an established group. I think Richard Murray was trying to close that gap, even though he's got some allies.
All right, we're going to head right down now to Joe, who's with the man with the shoes, Michael Arashida. Joe?
Well, Michael, here you are, and you have your shoes. Did you enjoy that, and what was obviously the thinking to not be eliminated?
Oh, I looked up and saw the clock was at 1:22, so made a little stutter and then decided if I want to do the swim, I may as well just go with the shoes. Go ahead, what?
Well, you've got to tell us, because we're all waiting to hear, how hard is it to swim in your shoes out there?
Oh, that was brutal. I already, kicking is not my specialty, and with shoes on was way harder. So I stopped at the first buoy and stuck them inside my suit, and then that was arguably worse. So I don't know what the strategy would have been, but I made it through one more discipline, and I don't know, I guess got a little TV time, so.
If you could do it all again, would you do the same thing?
Yeah, I think I would have been out after the swim anyway, so I might have not even made it to the swim, so yeah, why not, right? So.
Well, well done. You became the first person in Super League history to swim with your shoes on.
Thank you very much. Hopefully I don't have to next year. Hopefully I'm there next year.
Well done to Michael Arashida. I can't say enough about how important that is to innovate like that. It really takes the spirit of Super League and takes it forward.
Well, it shows how important it is for these athletes to complete each discipline and what it means to them. And as he said, he's like, I could have been eliminated before the swim, I got to swim. And it's just those little steps and those little things they do year on year to improve. And as he said, next year he'll complete the event, and who knows, he could be pushing for a win in 2 or 3 years' time.
That's absolutely correct. And a lesser athlete would have had a look at 1:22 on the clock and just gone through the motions, and there's no way he was going to finish higher than that.
Yeah.
So I respect that. And at the front, they're all respecting the quality of Christian Blumenfeld, who makes the turn again. And Pierre Lecour, I mean, we talked about how it played into his hands as he's come back to the field here.
What'll be interesting if the status quo remains unchanged. You have 4 here with Murray, Schoeman, Lehman and Canute chasing one position, one guaranteed position.
Yep.
On paper, Richard Murray is the form runner, though Henry Schoeman has outrun him many times in big events all over the world. Both those athletes have come in saying they're not in their best form. Are they vulnerably beaten by Canute, who was 4th in Jersey and was running out of his skin? It'll be interesting this run if nothing changes.
All right, Blumenfeld saw what Vincent Lewis did and said he wanted to put down a marker, get into the heads of his opponents. Well, Blumenfeld said, I can do that too. He's way out the front. Van Riel, Lecour and Poujard look like they might have a spot in the top 5 if they can have a good run. And then there's 4 on the bike right here who are fighting for one guaranteed spot and also hoping they can drag themselves in to the 5 next best. But Lecour, as I was saying, we thought that it might have played into his hands somewhat. And there's the clock. The under-23 world champ is 53 seconds back in a 26.5 minute race. That just shows you how quick the pace is. But we thought it played into his hands losing the bike, but it turns out that as well as that, Pierre Lecour is in some supreme form to hold on to a top 3 position in a race that is as fast and furious as this.
Well, he's as are all the French. They're just very balanced athletes. And Super League racing, unlike what you see on the WTS series and other races around the world, is about balance. All the disciplines are almost the same time to complete. So if you if you aren't exceptional in all three, you get isolated, and you're seeing the French are so strong.
There's the
they're
time.
so strong.
And there is the blue
Just
jersey
out.
holder, who was just on the wrong side of the time as into transition, a lap ahead, and that's the reason for the 90-second rule, so we don't have lapped athletes. Comes Christian Blumenfeld.
Oh, big ride by Mark Van Riel.
Wow, he really came off that bike
Big
at pace. So Van Riel knows he can rack forward. That's the last ride of the day, and out, and with the Red Bull cap on goes Christian Blumenfeld. Quick transition from Van Riel. Good as well from LaCour. And out they come, but could they be fighting for second and third?
Christian Blumenfeld will put the hammer down, 100% guaranteed. I bet my house on it. He's not going to ease
This
up.
is the real race
back.
here.
This is the race for that spot. Murray knows
Murray.
it, as does Schoeman, the two most experienced. Canute was fourth in Jersey, and the young silver medalist from the under-23 Junior World Championships from Hungary. Chonga
Lehman, 20 years old. As you said, silver in Lausanne in the grand final. Fourth in the Tijavaras World Cup and the
that's who
elite
beat him
racing
in the grand
too.
final right there.
Yep. There's the winner of the under-23 World Championships. So just a small dose of revenge maybe for Lehman if he does finish ahead of Roberto Sanchez Mantecon.
Sanchez is a competitor at heart. He'll be looking up the road going, there is no chance if I want to claim to be the best under-23 athlete on the planet, I need to take you out.
So the top five racing for those automatic qualifying spots, and a guaranteed spot goes to anyone else who can finish in above 32.24, which was Leo Berger's sixth place time. And we'll have the provisional confirmation of our finalists in the minutes following the race. 1 minute 20 gone, and we haven't mentioned him much, but Alesto Crocchiani from Italy is still in the mix and avoiding elimination.
He's going to finish here.
Yeah, he's going to finish ahead of Chris Perham. And at the front, and with enough time to put his hat and sunnies on, is Christian Blumenfeld. And there's Van Riel behind him, probably 100 metres behind him as he makes the turn at the top. And that's where the short chute will be, where those A-frames are. Probably around near where Van Riel is now. He'll be able to make the turnaround tomorrow, Blumenfeld, and get that advantage. But it doesn't matter that his joints are screaming. It doesn't matter that he's that far ahead. He's barreling down the backside of Mount Malta as quick as you like. There's Poujard, there is Schoeman, and there is Murray.
And
Poujard is in fifth.
So these two are going to move past him. And
Poujard's going to miss out.
Yes.
Poujard is in fifth. Hang on, that can't be right.
Schoeman and
Murray is in the wrong spot on our timing screens.
Because Poujard is now is having a problem, and both Murray and Schoeman will move past him.
They'll both move into the top five.
Exactly.
That's right.
Spot.
So Van Riel and LaCour will soon be followed by the two South Africans. There they are, Murray and Schoeman in fourth and fifth. Poujard being the man on the bubble, needing to beat his countryman Leo Berger in a 32.24. Behind them is Chongo Lehman, and behind him is Roberto Sanchez, but through transition for the last time is Christian Blumenfeld, who...
And we're 600 metres from home there. He's celebrating early at 30.30. It's going to be very, very close to the time. Actually, probably a little bit quicker than the time of Vincent Lewis. If I do the math at 3-minute kg, 90 seconds, yeah. It's going to be very, very tight, close to the times. Vincent Lewis carving his semi-final up quite comfortably. So this semi-final...
Blumenfeld.
Yeah.
Blumenfeld, he finished a disappointing ninth. Disappointing for him, not for anybody else, but disappointing for Christian Blumenfeld to finish ninth.
He ran barefoot, if you recall.
Yep, ran barefoot to avoid elimination. Did the reverse Arashita, is the name of that move. And there is Ben Canute, who...
was fourth in Jersey.
Yep. He was, and a great run from Chongo Lehman, and he's bested Canute. Canute's doing his best to put himself up into that 5 next fastest times, but up the hill and enjoying his time. He saw his countryman Gustav Eden do it. The thumbs up to Christian Blumenfeld, who is going to take a lonely run up the hill for the last time as Mantecon makes it in under the 1 minute 30 mark. But Christian Blumenfeld will enjoy this run up the hill. He will take the short chute.
And the time, unofficially, is a lot quicker.
It's very
than
fast.
Lewis.
And
Now slowing down to
he's
enjoy.
returned fire. Christian Blumenfeld, he takes semi-final B, he takes the short shoot, and I think he takes the quickest time of the day as well.
Bergier at 32.24 is the one that sat 6th in that first semi-final. So,
and then it was a 32.40 to Royal and a 33.28 to Hauser. So Van Riel, he's had a huge run there to best Pierre Lecour. Martin Van Riel, we know his bike is good, his run is good as well. He gets in at a 32.25. Lecour qualifies for the final in 3rd, Murray in 4th, and Schoeman in 5th. So the two men who have battled illness. Poujart gets in at a 32.35.
He'll get in.
Which is, he will get in, but he's not going to be ahead of Poujart. 32.41 for Lehman. He'll be there as well. And I think Canute will be in as well because they all finish under the time of Matt Hauser.
Well done. Great work.
So I think Royal will get in as well.
Canute will get in. Royal will be there. Hauser's in a 33.28. So we've had
there's 4 there.
7 or 8 finishes.
I think Royal's going to get in. You're going to have Hauser's going to be the casualty because Canute's going to take it, as will Lehman, as will Bergier.
We're going to see someone else cross the line in the next few minutes, and it could be Sanchez who outs Hauser.
He says. He looks at the clock and says, has it been fast enough? It will be fast
now,
enough.
This is just us assuming.
We're just checking the numbers. Yes. Canute will be on the bubble. Sanchez might have missed out. Hauser might have missed out. So Bergier, it looks like Bergier, Royal, and the 3 fastest from this heat who didn't automatically qualify.
Anthony Pagetis, you have Bergier, you have Royal, you'll have who else was there? That was a more congested heat. A lot, whilst it was probably slightly faster.
I think Sanchez will be the last man in. We'll have to wait on the provisionals for that. There is Aurelien Raphael, who again led out the swim but found the going tough. He's like our new Richard Varga from last year.
Really is.
Very, very good swimmer, but finds the pace a bit hot. And there is the man with the Red Bull cap, with the Red Bull in hand, totally on brand, Christian Blumenfeld, who will be your fastest, I think, for this. There's nothing you want more when your heart rate's 180 than to have a Red Bull.
Make it 190. Because it can go harder.
Okay, confirmation of our provisional 5 fastest others who make it in. Leo Bergier, Aaron Royal, Anthony Poujart, Chongor Lehman, and Ben Canute scrapes in as our 15th fastest across the course of the weekend.
That's very important for Ben Canute after his 4th place in Jersey. To not qualify for the final would be a tragedy to his points chase. So very, very important for that man on screen.
We'll get out there and let them know, but right now we're going to head down to Joe Ankia, who is with our winner enjoying a Red Bull, Christian Blumenfeld.
Yes, I'm with a happier Christian Blumenfeld this weekend. Are you happy with your performance? Fantastic front running.
Yeah, it was much better than yourself. I was so disappointed getting there eliminated. That was humiliating. So to be able to back it up here with a strong performance was great. So, but it's tomorrow that counts.
How much were you thinking about tomorrow and Vince perhaps trying to run faster than him?
Not too much. I mean, I think it's good to just get kind of pushing through today, and it's not too long. So yeah, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. It will be a little bit easier with that bike TT before the swim, because then kind of hopefully don't have to catch up.
And a bike time trial might just play to your strengths because you're very strong. How do you think that format might help you?
It should be good, I think. And also this bike course, I think, suits me way better than Jersey. I was really struggling in the technical course there, so this is more kind of a power course, and I'm feeling strong and confident ahead of tomorrow.
And you were also pushing it downhill as well as uphill. How are your knees, and how are you able to sort of tackle those downhills with that much speed?
I find it easier running downhill, actually, because then I can kind of just use the power. Like uphill, I really have to carry each kg I have extra than compared to everyone else. So the downhill is actually my strength, I think.
Okay, well, strength uphill and downhill, you're going to be a force to reckon with tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
But he needs to put a good time in tomorrow. Otherwise,
he is all about the power, Christian Blumenfeld, and he showed it on every percentage of gradient, both up and down here, and that beautiful, beautiful shot from the harbour here in Burgoo. It's been a pleasure to be here during the entire weekend. Thank you very much to Sports Malta and Visit Malta for helping us put this amazing event on. The athletes have certainly enjoyed what's been a great couple of men's semi-finals. There's no doubt about it, and a good crowd too. And here are the results from Group B, semi-final B. Van Riel was A good, 21 seconds back on Christian Blumenfeld, but he was 4 seconds ahead of Lacour. Murray and Schoeman scraping in, the two South Africans who've joined the field. Pujard, Lehman and Canute are the three that make it through to the final. Roberto Sanchez, the under-23 world champion, misses out, as does Aurelian Raphael, who was the last to finish and avoid elimination. So he lost 5 athletes, but a high-quality field right there. But Blumenfeld, he's really laid down. We heard Vince Lewis talk about getting in the minds, I guess, of our the rest of the competitors, and that's what Blumenfeld saw and responded to.
Oh, without question, and he was visually disappointed in Jersey, and it was good to hear him say that. And just watching their preparation, following them on social media and their build-up to this event, both him and Gustav Eden, you could just see he was racing this with a different intensity. And I'm going to be very interested to see how he attacks this race tomorrow to try and dislodge Vincent Louis' winning form.
Absolutely right. There is Ben Canute, Anthony Pujard and Martin Van Riel. But one man who is not there is Richard Murray. He is with Joe Ankia right now. He's come back with a vengeance.
Well, Richard, you must be very happy with that performance. You weren't as confident on the start line, but how do you feel about the way you raced?
Well, that was quite brutal, to tell the honest truth. On the bike and the run, I felt it's kind of all right. But on the second swim, I could really feel the fitness wasn't there 100%. But, very happy to make it through. I think on the swim, I thought, man, I might not make it today. But, pretty happy with making it through till tomorrow.
You actually raced it very tactically. You're positioning yourself just in front of some fast swimmers. How much were you thinking about tactics?
Not a lot, to tell the honest truth. When we were on the bike, I didn't know I was in a good place, so I managed to catch up well on the first bike leg. I was in there on the run, and overall, I'm glad to make it through till tomorrow. And I think I made it through just with the right amount of energy loss, so I'm quite happy with that.
And of course, tomorrow is a bike time trial. We know that you do love your bike, so is there a little confidence you can take going into tomorrow with the format?
Definitely. I love a really hard bike, and I got a new BMC at the start of the year, so it's definitely been great this year to ride on that bike, and looking forward to it, definitely.
Racing yourself fit again. Good luck for tomorrow.
Thanks. Cheers, everybody.
Really good to have our race winner in Malta last year, Richard Murray, back in there in the final.
He's a great addition to the field. Whenever he's on, he just races to win. He's a dynamite competitor. He talks himself into fitness. I always hear him the days before going, I don't know, and then you see that momentum that he gathers. So it's great to see him back and racing the way he does.
As sun sets here in Burgoo, let's look back at the racing semi-final B, and it started at a fast and furious pace, as they all have, and this really was the swimmers' semi-final, if you like. As we said, probably half a dozen of the very best swimmers in the world, all in the same race. And they came out in a big bunch, and there were plenty of Frenchmen at the front early on, and the pace was right on, and it showed at the back end. Blumenfeld started that bike in 11th, finished it in the lead, and didn't relinquish it for the rest of the race.
Yeah, and what Blumenfeld did by being so aggressive is isolate our blue jersey. It will be the first time our blue jersey doesn't make the final. He was the first casualty here because of that aggressive pace on the bike of Christian Blumenfeld.
First time down the hill was where he really gapped everybody, and as soon as the gradient gets up above 3, 4, 5%, that's when he really shines.
Yeah, he's amazing, and it's just his mindset. If he has a vulnerability, it's to swim, but as he said, it's when he gets open water like this, he's able to focus on his stroke. This group behind closed down, but once he's on land, he's very, very difficult to pass. It's just the way he races. He moved. Pierre Lacour got him out of transition, but straight up that first climb, he was able to gap Pierre Lacour, continue to push forward consistently, and once onto the run, I would hate to be in a run shootout with him. It's the downhills here that Christian Blumenfeld, I found, was very, very good. His transitions, he's in the grey jersey, were spectacular. The takeaway, Martin Van Riel, I thought ran quite well. When you think of Pierre Lacour and his performances in Jersey, running off the shoulder of Vincent Louis, to be able for Martin Van Riel to dislodge him on the run was a big takeaway for him.
Good to see a happy Christian Blumenfeld get across the line, take the tape and take the short shoot, the shortcut for tomorrow, and really put in a quality all-round performance, as did Martin Van Riel and Pierre Lacour, ahead of Richard Murray and finally Henry Schoeman, who by his own admission is a little bit undercooked but still managed to get his way in, as did Anthony Pujard, Chong-Or Lehman and Ben Canute. But a fantastic day's racing here in Malta, and what a fantastic venue it is. It really just looks beautiful, and I can tell you here on the ground, the pictures do not lie.
It's a remarkable island. I'd never really spent a lot of time here until we started coming here as part of the Super League series, and we came in for years, months and months before. But it's become one of my favourite destinations to visit within Europe. It's the history here, the architecture. It's marvellous. The food, and obviously the triathlon racing now is pretty on point.
You've really been sampling the food. There's no question about it.
The seafood here is good, mate. You've got to keep eating. The more is better.
Seafood, yeah, you like seafood.
Nice
You seafood and you eat it.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
All right, we're going to have a look now at confirmed results for both the men's and women's final. So if you're hanging out to find out who will be racing, the two men who take the short shoot, he was 8 seconds quicker than Vincent Lewis. Relegated once again on the timesheets, Lewis. It doesn't matter. They'll both have the short shoot, Blumenfeld and Lewis. Wild was next quickest from Mislachuk, Vasco Velasa, who was fantastic. Martin Van Riel, Gustav Eden, 70.3 world champ. Pierre Lacour, second overall in our series. Richard Murray and Henry Schumann both do enough to make it into the top 5. And our lucky 5 who make it in by virtue of their times. Leo Berger and Anthony Poujard, both from France. Aaron Royal, our red jersey holder right now from Australia. Chong Lehman from Hungary, who comes in for the first time, and one of our stalwarts, Ben Canute, 4th overall in the championship, and that is a packed final for tomorrow.
45-second spread across the entire field, which is very, very tight racing. It'll be interesting to see the selection, where the athletes decide to go in this time trial tomorrow. Will Christian Blumenfeld light the open road and pick himself to be first? I'm keen to see that.
The short shoots for the women's, as expected, go to Katie Zafiris, who's second overall and our reigning champion, and Cassandra Beaugrand, who leads right now in our championship. Rachel Klammer was the second quickest out there from Sophie Colwell, Taylor Spivey and Ilaria Zane, who all were in the same heat as Katie Zafiris. Yuko Takahashi, Beatrice Malozzi, our junior, who already raced this morning and got the extra spot. She qualifies in 8th position from the only Perio, Summer Rappaport, Felicity Sheedy-Ryan, Angelica Olmo, Bianca Serrani, another one of the juniors, 2 very quick Italians, Megan Foley and Elena Danilova. Those last 3 all got eliminated but made it in regardless, and we cannot wait for tomorrow's racing. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Malta. The women's final will be at 2:30 p.m. local time. It'll be 4 p.m. for the men's, and this is what's coming up. Here's a little taste of what the equalizer is all about.
The Equalizer, a 2-stage battle that asks for everything. Stage 1, the time trial, an examination of true single-discipline pace. Gap the field here and take the advantage into Stage 2, a pursuit start enduro, 6 consecutive legs and 5 transitions, enough to claw back the time lost or to squander your lead with even the smallest mistake.